Good evening. Welcome to WooTube. My name is Baran Woo, and today we're going to be looking at how bad our predictions were for the tier lists, which we put out right at the start of RWR. Had this in the books for a few weeks ago, and then Andre and Ingrid decided to put out their RWR rehash on that week, so bumped it back a little bit. I'm going to be joined very, very shortly by two fantastic guests tonight. The same people that were with me on to go through the tier list in the first place. But first thing I want to mention is that I'm gonna put a soft little thing, I don't know, comfort blanket out there for us. But when we put out this tier list, it was literally the day that cards had gone out. We had a chance to try any of these cards, even in the slightest, which I think becomes very relevant and pretty obvious when we have a little look at some of our picks. I am going to attempt to get our special guests on the line. We'll see if everything goes smoothly here. It might well do. I think we have an Aksu. Aksu, say hello, and hopefully everyone can hear you.
Can you hear me? No?
Oh, I can hear you, so that's a good start at least.
Yes. All right.
And I think we also possibly have Augustus, who is muted.
That is me.
Ah, marvelous. So, I don't really need to do too much introduction here, but Augustus, you are the winner of basically everything that's happened so far this year.
Well, I'm more like the runner-up of everything that's happened this year.
Okay, well, that's still pretty good. Yeah, I guess EMEA top 4. I'm right there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, 3 even.
Yeah. Oh well, top 3. We can upgrade you. And then Swedish Nats second.
Yeah. No, that one I did.
That one you won. Lovely. I literally lose track of all the stuff that you're winning at the moment, so
It feels like a good problem to have for me.
it's not the worst. Aksu, how many tournaments have you won this year?
I think 3.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
I keep winning Finnish COs. Anything above that is above my pay grade.
Yeah, fair.
Me and Aksu are the complete opposite. I keep completely floundering all the Irish COs that I've had. I haven't won a single local event.
Well,
yeah, I have to spend my influence elsewhere. Like I've been mentioning 5 decklist write-ups. Not in a positive light, but still mentioned.
Yeah. If you haven't read Aksu's most recent decklist write-up, I highly recommend it. Even if you just read the first paragraph, it's pretty fantastic. Okay, so we should probably just jump straight into this because I have no idea how long this is going to take us. Hopefully not too long, but there are some things which we need to adjust. Now, I will, in a second, share my screen with you.
I go fast.
Hopefully this won't absolutely tank everything else that's going on. We'll find out. Resolution, the lowest. There we go. Right. Tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I thought we would Lazy's already jumping in there. Today we reckon with the downplaying trick shot. Yeah, we'll get to trick shot. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'll keep honest on that.
Right.
We didn't put it that far down.
We didn't, but I can. Well,
because Ba was overruled Ba on that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I thought the best way of doing this we will be going from the top to the bottom, and I'll shout out to Koga in chat. Hello, Koga. Great to have you in here. Okay, so I think we go top to bottom, working our way down, moving stuff as we need to, because yeah, it seems to make sense. So we can start off right at the top, S tier, the crew. I think we got this right. I think this card is really good.
It has done surprisingly little. Like, people have just been playing Anarch instead of trying to mess around with crew.
Yeah, I mean,
but like this card is still very good, I think.
I think the tournaments where people have taken the decks with it, though, it's done very well. You know, like it cleared up at Bristol Regionals. We saw it doing very well early on. And I think it's still, I mean, the combination of the crew and Devil Charm is just absolutely brutal, you know?
Yeah, I think it's still an
leech, everything like that.
Yeah.
It will like have its time at some point, like where it will be really toxic, but not yet.
Yeah. When we made this list, I think at least I believed that it was clearly the best card in S tier. I don't think these are not ranked.
Yeah, I think
in each tier.
Down on S tier, but still S tier.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I think we can keep this exactly where it is. Alarm Clock, we've got to bump down, right? This
definitely
is the best crim card in the set, which is in crim. Like the best crim card. Yeah, yes. Hold up, the best crim card that crims are playing, and yet crims are still not playing it. Like what?
Well, I don't know. Also for the record, when I suggested putting it in S tier, it was because it was getting played out of Lou.
Right.
And I think it's still an S tier if Lou was around. I don't know. Lou is banned, so you can. It's kind of unfair to rank it now compared to them.
Fine. We'll use that as our caveat. Are we going down as far as like B tier with this? It still seems good, but
I think so.
I don't think I can put it lower than B.
Yeah, it's a card. It's a like decent card. If Crim was in a good place, I think I would see it.
I can't adjust this. How do I not? Why can I not adjust this? Oh wait, I need to. Okay. Just a second. I think I need to click on this. Hopefully, I need to click on this, and then I should be able to do it. Yeah. Okay. Right. We'll shift this down to A tier for now. Tanuki says, I feel S tier should be reserved for a card alone, which we'll get to in a second. Very possibly. Okay, Burner. Now, I still think that Burner's very good. Obviously, when it first came out, every shaper was running 3 of them. Then they quickly dropped off, and now they're coming back again. I still think it's a very good card, but I don't think it's an S tier card. Augustus, what do you think?
I was doomering it on PD way too much.
Yeah.
I think shifting it down a tier is good, but it's still a card that like depending on what the circumstances are around it, can be an auto include or it can be something you cut.
Yeah, I think it's still potentially an A tier card for where it sits.
Yeah, the effect is still like actually really powerful. It just it's not like an auto include as a 3-off. Like you play 1 or 2 just to keep the Corp honest.
I mean, I have misplayed at least one, which just allowed my opponent to fix the agenda flood which was going on because I forgot to run the Spin Doctor first, then had to shuffle agendas in when I saw 3 of them. It was, but you know, I learned lessons there. I think that's fine. I think that's an easy switch down. Coalescence is a not so easy one because I don't think this is S tier, but it has made a load of shaper archetypes just pop out of nowhere, right? So do either of you think it should stay up in S tier, or are we just like shifting it down one tier to A tier?
I mean, I think it's S tier.
Yeah, I would fight the people that are saying that Trick Shot is the best card of the set, with like Coalescence being higher in my estimation. Like, it's the only thing. It's like the best thing in the World Tree deck, which is the best deck. So it's kind of hard to not have it in S tier, given that, in my opinion.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, if you're both saying that, we're gonna leave it up there. But
it's just like a solid workhorse card. Like, it does what it says on the tin. It lets, but like, it's not exciting.
That's why I think it's not S tier, because like I don't think S tier cards should be solid workhorse cards. I think they should do something fundamentally
it's like
unfair.
the backbone of your deck, which like lets your deck exist, basically.
Yeah,
but it is,
which in my mind is like a really good A tier card. It's like not like it's not breaking the game, but it is making a lot of archetypes good.
We got to center this discussion. The deck list, the concept is that it's however many AMTs that the card is going to win. And like Coalescence is going to win a lot of AMTs until World Tree gets banned.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we
I'll be honest, I have the stats on how many AMTs were won by each card.
Okay.
They do not back up my claim. But also, there haven't been any AMTs since we unveiled World Tree, so
I was about to say I'm not totally sure it's actually won very many AMTs. So
yeah, because we weren't allowed to win them because we had to keep the deck secret.
I see. Jonald's asking what Coalescence does. It's a tricky one. It's hard to read, that's for sure. I really want to put this down in A tier. I would like if you want to rank the tiers, then it would be at the top of A tier, but I don't think it's a broken card, and thus I don't think it can go in S tier. Do either of you want to fight me on it?
I've fought you on it a bit already, but you're the one driving, so yeah.
Okay. You see, I'm kind of being outdone here, so I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna say that it's an S tier card, mainly because it generates an S tier deck. Okay, how many tiers are we dropping Privileged Access down? Because this is a card which I think is way better than it should be. It seems so good, and yet even in the deck which should be playing it, there are none in there. It's not being played in the crew deck.
Who is building crew without that? I think they're wrong. But this is one man's vendetta, and I haven't played the crew decks at any tournaments, so I can't really talk too much shit. But I think it is like you might argue for tier down, but I think it's like a very solid card.
I think Praxis goes a tier down just based on numbers that we have seen it on, and it's like my evaluation was that it's like good enough card that you can play in like regular decks, but it just doesn't add up the value.
Yeah, I think the tag has actually proven to be like, I don't think many people have the time to clear the tag, and like unless you're playing it out 7, we'll talk about 7 in a second, then like it just doesn't, it kind of takes away a bunch of your value, having to sort of sort that.
Yeah, I agree. My argument was against shifting it more down. I think B tier is right for it.
Okay, we can leave it in B tier.
Yeah, I think it's still best Seb card in the set, so it's still placed like in B tier, I think.
And it's going to go above Seb himself, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
like I've played a Privileged Access in Hoshiko, whereas like Seb kind of doesn't do.
Yeah. So Seb did win one AMT, right? He won an AMT, maybe an early one.
Possibly. Don't think so.
No. Okay.
It was the Sebastian Case deck which played like Ass, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is
it was an Ass deck that played Sebastian in it.
But with
from
Seb,
PJ.
yeah. This is like C tier at best, right? Seb's dropping down far.
Yeah, it just doesn't add up. Like the card pool doesn't help it. Like even.
Yeah, I think he escapes D tier because if tag cards get printed that are in faction mostly, like if running hot was in faction and we printed that, I think he would become pretty high value. But as is currently, there's just nothing. So
yeah, like I can see a world where Sebastian is good, which like I don't think D tier cards should exist in that world.
Yeah, I've I feel like you get a ton of value, but after you've done everything else, you've spent a click and credits to remove tags or whatever you're doing, you end your turn and you're like, well, I did a lot of things this turn and I'm kind of net neutral. So
yeah, like, but imagine if they reprint Citadel Sanctuary, like Sebastian will cook after that.
Completely.
Like it's just 1 or 2 cards off of being like broken.
Yeah. We need some like, it needs like, I think clickless tag removal is the main thing, right? Like
yeah, it works infinitely. Like it just sits around. Yes.
My diagnosis is more that like the things that he gets for taking tags aren't good enough. Like the removing of tags with Hannah is actually just fine, but like the fact that you have to import crim cards as payoff
better cards, or like the ways to clear tags need to be better. But now it's like both are too bad to actually work out.
Like Citadel would still be great in him just because it would be a good card, but I think his fundamental problem is that he needs more beneficial ways to take tags.
Yeah. Kakasklab saying Seb has clickless tag removal, and I wonder, Kakasklab, are you talking about Solidarity Badge? Because if so, like if Solidarity Badge did what, like if it worked slightly better, then I'd agree. But it's so hard to keep your badge charged and use that to clear the tags and have to float tag. It just has not worked.
Yeah. Like also real deck is Hannah, or like real thing in the deck is Hannah, which is clickless, but you only have so many of them.
Yeah, and then you're putting 3 Hannahs in your deck, kind of just to, like half of the time you're just installing it and clearing it. Like that's not a great use of a card. Right. Window of Opportunity, I think we got right. I kind of think this is an A tier card. I think this is done. It's probably been better than most people were imagining. Like, Window plus Saucy is like disgusting. And I think it's
one Fight Club, which is almost like an AMT.
No, yeah. I mean Fight Club was a fucked up format, so that doesn't count.
It like kind of gives you like Fight Club is good for giving you an idea of how good Window would be if like Crim wasn't.
It was played in one match in Fight Club, and it was played against like PE. So.
Yeah, but also like the thing is, we're maybe not seeing it quite as much right now because we're kind of just not seeing that much Crim, right? I guess like Crim's starting to make a bit of a comeback.
I mean,
but
it's not even like,
it is also true
that not in Crims where like it's played.
Yeah, like
Crims don't play this card unless they're like lost playing like the Saucy thing, and I think that's just
so good.
Like more
it's
fun.
So good in there.
Is it? Like
it
hasn't shown up. It has not shown up.
All right, you want to drop it down 1 tier? I'm not dropping it past B tier. I think it's like
I think it's next Alarm Clock.
Yeah, I think it's slightly better than Alarm Clock. Whether that merits it being 1 tier higher or not is like an academic discussion.
Fine.
I think it with the state of Crim, it's not going to win AMTs anytime soon, so it makes sense to shift it down.
Okay, so now we move on to the card which some people will claim is the best card in the set. I think
one person claimed.
I think I am also going to claim that this is the best card in the set.
I will dissent on this, but I'm not going to stop you from putting it in.
I'm shaking my head, like rolling my eyes. So deep in my head.
Okay, now I wasn't.
Trick shot, yeah.
Yeah. No. We're on trick shot right now. I'm gonna put it like I can't move it any further. Oh, I can. There we go. I'm gonna put it here just for now. Lucian is agreeing that Coalescence is the best card in the set.
Keep the tiers on order. So just put it at the end, and it is left to the reader's discretion.
Yeah.
I think that's the best.
So I thought about this, and I think me and Andre kind of had a similar thought process about this, in that it's like, but it seems good, but like you're going to need a way of spending the money, and you're going to need it. No, you don't. Like this is not what became very apparent pretty quickly, was that this isn't a card which you like can only use at certain times. You can just fire this on almost any board state, and it's great. It absolutely. I mean, this is like a bonkers card. This is potentially what's making Shaper so strong right now, because this card is insane.
Yeah, like it was really hard to evaluate when the like buy spot of the card actually exists, but it's just basically like every single time you play it, you can just like getting 2 access, getting 6 credits, and 2 runs is easy enough thing to accomplish against every single deck. So it's like just so sick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is clearly. I don't think we need to like. I think everyone understands that this is an SD
also,
card.
For the record, is one of the few cards that has won 2 AMTs so far. So.
True. Okay, let's talk about Jeitinho. Now,
that one has done less winning.
Now, it's not won as many, but it has.
It hasn't won a single one.
Yeah, right. It hasn't won a single AMT, but
it hasn't won an event at all, like ever.
Yes, it has. Someone won something with a Jeitinho deck. I'm 100% sure of that. I would have to like go and find it, but
yeah, fact, it seems unlikely that it hasn't won some random CO somewhere. I think, but like not even nobody took it to third at a nationals or something.
All right, which is like Colorado CO. Oh, which was played in startup. Sorry.
Oh, that might not count.
Yeah, hell no, it doesn't count.
Now
there was a real result of it, like not getting into a top cut. Like it's not deep here.
With good results. I will agree with that. Like Sid 7 played it to play like second place at some point.
Yeah,
but like
now
it's not an 8 card.
The one place where this card, I saw a lot of it, and where it was really quite scary, was at the throwback tournament at EMEA, which obviously is a very different thing, but it kind of proved that if you have access to just one good AI breaker, then this thing becomes an absolute monster.
If you can find me the letters A, M, and T in throwback, then you can count it.
Okay, is it
actually in throwback? Was it actually good in a throwback though?
Yeah, it
won. Like, which tables was it played on?
Eater is just nonsense. Like,
yeah, I mean, Friedan is in chat and facing up against his Hashiko Jeitinho. I think it didn't drop a game all day, but I might be wrong there.
So, Bob, what was your team's result in the event?
What was my what?
Team's result on like which tables were you playing at?
Well, we submarined up from the bottom because we missed.
Yeah, did you see the Jeitinhos in the lower tables or the higher tables?
Actually, we shouldn't be talking shit. We did worse than them.
No, Augustus, don't say anything. The PU deck was great.
It was I was playing in the mid tables. Yeah, there we go. Friedan says it dropped one game across 2 players. So they had 2 players on Jeitinho, and it only lost 1 game. Like, that's pretty solid. Surely that's pretty solid.
Yeah, this is very far from the discussion.
All right.
Though, which is that we can put Jeitinho in A tier probably.
Yeah, well, it's got into C tier. Are we happy with C tier?
We are, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Fine. Okay, what do we think about Ashen?
I used to have like a grudge against this card.
Well,
I still have a grudge.
I have been turned around to it quite a bit. Like, it turns out Price is a great card, and this enables Price. It's the thing.
Well, it also, the stats don't lie. Ashen is the single card of the set to have won 3 AMTs, so it kind of has to stay high.
Yeah, like the effect is just pretty sick.
I like how many times people played Ashen in those winning AMT runs. Can't be very high.
Yeah, there. Like, I have been asking every time I see people play like Ashen. I ask, how many times did you actually play the Ashen? And the answer is like, you played it like twice in the event, and once for actual value.
But like the rest of the people that still think the card is good are going to peer pressure us into keeping this an A tier, I think.
So
I mean, it's an A tier card. Like,
the one thing I'll say about Ashen, I do think it possibly is an A tier card because it's also taking certain. It has removed certain like Corp strategies from the game. Like there's kind of no point in trying to play like full on grinder strategies now, and that's a good thing. Like, I'm quite happy about that. But you know, those strategies are no longer a thing. I was playing like with urban renewals and getting to a point where you could just like score out CityWorks projects off the board. Before Ashen came out, can't do that anymore. Like you just can't risk getting to a point where you're like, haha, you have no cards left, and they're like, haha, I have like 30 cards left actually. So I think it is A tier even without being played, even when it's just index without it being there. Jai puts it best that he has like Ashen in the deck, and it just reminds you how to play the deck. You can like be absolutely like haphazard and price everything into the bin and mosh everything away and banker through everything, knowing that even if you lose every single bit of like tools that you have, you do have a way of like restarting your deck and going again.
Yeah, so I dislike the card because I just do those things anyway, even without Ashen.
Yeah,
but
it's like a nice security blanket to have. Like, you hit a price with Turbine and like DJ, and you kind of like feel pretty bad after that. But like, Ashen just like secures that you can get your stuff online.
Yeah.
Does Ashen fix that though?
Just like at some point,
both of those cards you need pretty early. You can't just like wait for after your Ashen.
You play Ashen on like 15 cards left in the deck, you know.
I guess. But then you have to draw.
I have done that. I have actually done that, and it like does work out.
Okay, valid. I think you're still unhappy to see that situation. Yeah, but it's
you are. But like, the other option is you play a price and it bows, and it just like can't break brand anymore.
I mean, or you accept that you don't have a DJ, but maybe with a like different example of cards.
Yeah, maybe. Like 2 cleavers and something like 2 cleavers and Turbine.
Would be slightly.
But I don't think you can take it down. The effect is just way too good.
Yeah, we did said a whole lot of words for a card that's not changing.
Right. So we've already done Alarm Clock Window and Privac. So Heliamphora we have not seen. This card has not really shown up.
I mean, I remember there was one person in the call that tried to push this up way too much during the last call.
Yeah. I still think there's a disgusting deck out there with this in it, but it hasn't shown up, right?
I think until we find it, we can probably put it in D-tier.
Yeah, like the card does basically nothing. Like,
fine, it can go in D-tier. You know what
one
else?
day you'll have to last laugh at and jump down.
Yeah, people can clip this conversation in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be there. Everyone's gonna be like, at some point in some meta, people are gonna be calling for this card to be banned. It's just not yet. The deck's not there yet. Right. I also think D tier is Friend of a Friend. I think this is quite a bad card. even in Seb, it doesn't feel great. Like, am I wrong?
If you like, I think Friend is the best card in Seb.
Yeah, I think it's
that
like
isn't like already on high on this list. I think it just goes right beside Seb. Because like there isn't a Seb deck that shouldn't play it. At least I don't think so.
I'd also like to
you
point out that that Ysengrin has now added his name to the people that tiebreakers have beef with. So we're coming for you, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've watched during like one Red Ice, Jinteki Ice during the later part of the stream. So,
but also, he is speaking the truth. We are desperate for content, which is why we do it.
I'm not desperate for content. I just I wanted to I genuinely wanted to go back over this. I'm fascinated about like where we actually end up. So are we saying that this is C tier because Seb is C tier and basically
right next to Jeitinho, like Seb, basically?
I'm just going to put it next to Seb because that makes sense. What about Manuel? Is that also just like essentially
it's not even a Seb card?
So yeah,
I feel less strongly about Manuel. I think he does go in every sub deck, but he's like a one-off that doesn't relevant every game. So.
Yeah, and like it's this funny thing where, well, I'm gonna say where like more accesses isn't a winning formula right now, but I'm gonna completely contradict myself when I talk about a card later. So I think this probably drops down to D right now, right? We haven't really.
I think so. It just doesn't add up quite.
Yeah. Now a card which either we got bang on or possibly needs to move up a little bit is Copulation. Augustus, what's your thoughts on Copulation?
Did Saka end up cutting it? He was talking about cutting it from his deck. So I don't think it can go too far if like if it's in the zone of considering cuts. But it is like a good card.
It's also an option card you're playing like Voltri Arsana.
Well, yeah, like most of us have switched over.
Yeah, we switched to Imp, right? But like it's still a good option if you have quite specific type of decks. Like I think it's just sitting there straight up.
Yeah, I mean it's I think even outside of Weltri Arizona, I think it's more just like good. It's Shaper. You know, Bridgman was playing 1 or 2, or no, it was just in Soccer's deck, right? But he's like, this is multi-access, which you can tutor at any point. Yeah. So I don't know. Are we just leaving this straight in B tier? Did we just get this one correct?
I think so. I think it's just fine.
Yep, past us, we're just very smart.
Fine. we can give ourselves a few which we got correct. I think we can bump Julie down 1. I think she has, because we have seen some decks with her in, and I've played some decks with her in, and she has felt like she's done something in those decks. Like she's not D tier.
Naming some decks real quick. Like
I'm not convinced she's good outside of exactly the Seb K as deck, but that is a deck that did well in AP. So
I mean, there were some Shaper decks going around, and I know like CTZ is absolutely was absolutely on fire for like Julie plus Nuka and Telework in Shaper for a bit.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those decks, and I'm not convinced by them.
Yeah, you like just play Swift for your deep dives, anyways.
I don't think it's D. I think like if you're telling me that this card is as bad as Amanuensis, then I would fight you on that like quite a bit.
I agree with C tier, but it's exclusively because of the As deck, and like I don't think she's good.
But
yeah, she is fine.
Okay, Cataloger. I flipped on this card quite a bit because when it came out, I said I would rather play indexing. Then I started playing decks with Cataloger in it, specifically ones with Cataloger and Orca, so I could charge it. And I was like, I was tripping out. Like, this is way better than indexing. Having an indexing on a stick at any one point is like nutty good. And then it's kind of died off for a bit, maybe because I was like playing too much Conduit. And now I'm back on Cataloger again. So I can't tell. I think this is like, it's A tier 1 month and it's B tier the next month. Have either of you played much with this card?
Stats say that it has won 2 AMTs, which is above average. And like the decks that win those AMTs are pretty solid, and Cataloger's pretty good in them. It like seems very comparable to Burner. Like there are like decks that want the Burner effect, or decks that want a Cataloger effect, but not every one of them does.
Yeah.
You could make arguments for this set being pretty weak, given the cards we have in A tier and B tier at the moment. But like in the context of everything else in the set, Cataloger's definitely going up a bit.
Yeah, and we also saw it played to great effect. His name slips my mind. For Ryan Bantwins, was on like Cataloger with Mad Dash, which I think is like, I mean, that's always going to be a meta call as to whether that's a good choice or not. But I think right now it's a pretty great meta call. You know, that's a great way of winning games right now. Can we pump this up? Can we call this A tier, or do you disagree?
Yeah, A tier would be where I
can go A tier.
Cool. Next is Lobosome. Now this is a card which I did not read properly, and it wasn't until I played this it wasn't until I played a few games with this card, and this was one of the first ones, you know, like just one of the first things that I think most of the Shaper players tried out was like, let's stick a Lobosome in kit and see how it does, and you're like, oh, it literally is like insane. Like this is what kit has needed, and it's really like invigorated kit. Interestingly, it's invigorated kit enough for people to also look at other like kit builds.
Yeah, that's
this is actually the best kit card, like big kit breaker. Like you just play Invincificator, and it actually just might be better than this.
Like it's not a bad card, but the fact that there are kit decks that don't play it kind of is like a really big mark against it. Like,
yeah, the kit deck is not like the best deck around. It's really good and really solid, but like it still has issues like into some matchups and like some decks, and it kind of relies on you getting the correct spark of inspiration hits sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's why we're seeing those kit decks which aren't on Lobosome, because people have been burnt by Spark of Inspiration. And I think there are ways of playing this without having to rely on like sparking it out. But I don't know. So do you, from the sounds of things, you both think that this is a B tier card?
No, I mean, it's still pretty fucked up, so I think it's A, but it's not like the...
I would keep it in B tier, but really? I have like a pretty well documented...
It won enough tournaments and been enough of a threat to put on A tier, I think. It has proven itself to be better than like most of the options. It's won a Continental. And it has been placing like consistently high in tournaments. It's just like so easy to just jump in there and play.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we've seen like we say, we've seen other kit builds. It hasn't just been Lobosome kit, but pretty much every top cut which I've looked at for the last while has had at least one or two kits, and at least one of them has always been a Lobosome kit. Like people are.
Like I don't get the impression that has been true recently. Like I can't remember a tournament that it has done well after EMEA or after APAC, but that might just be like confirmation bias for myself, because I mean
we had like actually held so many tournaments after that. Yes. I was just going to say
I don't look at all of them, but the ones which I see, maybe I am drawn to kit decks, so I might be biased in terms of like I'll look at all the kit decks because I
think
always
it
want to
might
see
be
what
a
they're doing.
UK thing.
Maybe. Kit Slush. Jeff wants Kit to rotate. It will happen soon, Jeff. Don't worry. I'm putting it up in A.
Like every. Yeah, A is fine.
Yeah, apparently it won Australian Nats. Okay, that's legit.
There we go. Yeah, there was even someone who was Solomir playing it in Sable, like that.
Yeah, it was the like Jeitinho Sable Lobby deck.
Okay. Last card that we put in B tier, which I don't think is going to stay in B tier, is Valentina.
Yeah.
This, how far is this dropping? Because I'm just like, I don't know. This card just doesn't seem to have the value, and maybe it's because we're not playing all of the like cards which give us a tag, and we're meant to clear them. But it just doesn't seem good, or it doesn't seem worth it most of the time.
The way I think of Valentina is that it's a tech against NBN in Seb specifically. So like if like somehow NBN was all there was around, like triple Valentina Seb is probably like if 100% of the meta was NBN, triple Valentina Seb might be one of the best decks. But that's like a very contrived scenario to make the card good. So
if NBN was like really good again, and you would have to play Voltri Arisana, do you include this card in there?
Yeah, you would, I think.
Yeah, like so it's like a C tier tech card, I think.
Okay, we can say it also might be the fact, like there's also a chance that this card isn't really seen that much because we're not seeing much NBN at the moment, right? There's
we didn't see it even when NBN was a thing, though.
No, it's true.
Like just having one resource that you have to tutor out at some point, or can't tutor out in most decks, is not good enough. Like you don't want to play multiple of this, and in enough of matchups, it just sits around for so long.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward because like the only times in this meta where NBN was really big was the times when you could play mulch, and so if you were concerned about NBN, you would just play mulch or lose position. So it kind of like if mulch ended up being banned and NBN wasn't, like Valentina might do something. But like these are very hypothetical, so it definitely falls down to C tier at least.
Yeah, I think it's C tier.
Let's drop it down to C. Right. So, moving down to C, we've already talked about Seb, Friend, Jeitinho, and Julie. Eye for an Eye is still a card which I think is strong, and yet we're probably going to drop it down to D tier because it is not being played by anyone. No one's playing this card.
It doesn't go in Seb, and I don't think that you can find enough.
The effect is pretty good. If there is like a more solid multi-access card for Anarch, you actually can start thinking about this.
But like you have to trash your entire hand for the effect to be good. So I'm not even sure that's true.
Want to trash.
Aksu, hold up. Whoa, hold up. Just 2 seconds. Did you say you needed a good multi-access card for Anarch? Have you forgotten that the twinning exists? Like, what the hell? How much better do you need? this is what I'm saying.
I haven't thought out in my lies.
Bring back turning wheel or else.
Yeah, 100%.
Like this should be so busted playing this alongside twinning, and it's not.
This with twinning is too slow though. You like have to get something else.
Like, seems hard to imagine a faster multi-access than twinning. Like,
no, it isn't. You just play like Docklands Pass in Anarch, and you cook.
Cold Lava, I don't think you can play this in Tag Me Freedom because I think it says you can only play it if you are not tagged, which makes it.
I think every single
really
Sebastian card says that, yeah.
Yeah. But I do like Cold Lava's point that Valentina, potentially the issue with her is that what we want from our tag tech is things to deal with the click rather than the credits. You know, like if Valentina maybe said remove a click, remove a tag, and don't pay a click or something, like, but you still paid a 2, then that actually might be better, or something along those lines. You know,
we can put Eye for an Eye in here.
Okay, right. Eye for an eye. It's dropping down to D tier, right? Because just no one's playing it as much as I think it's
I
actually
think
better
it can
than
drop down to D tier.
which I think is wild. Like I just like the fact that I haven't seen anyone play it in Lou. I haven't seen anyone play it in Seb. Like I haven't even seen anyone play in Essa, which is actually where it almost makes the most sense, right? Like you put one of these in Essa, like when the Corp like holds on to 2 cards, like you've been sabotaging for a ton. They've kept 2 cards in their hand all this time, and you're like, right, I'm just gonna go and like trash those 2 cards from me. Like this card should see play in all 3 of these decks, and it doesn't. Yeah. So, you know,
I'd really tested it out in like Hoshiko just as a way to deal with PD like centrals, but it's just not the card for that.
And I also put it in my sub decks, and it was not good there either. Like,
you should just put Trick Shot into your Hoshiko instead. Okay. Wizard's Chest, I think we can leave exactly where it is because it's ended up in the same tier as Jeitinho, and that is the only place that we've seen it really do a thing, as much as that's where we assumed that it was where it would do a thing. What was that?
I don't think it's in every single Jeitinho deck though.
No, but I think
it's in enough of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's as powerful as like
Jeitinho numbers 3 and 6.
I'm still amazed that we haven't seen anyone like pull an Orca with this somehow, and I'm still amazed that I haven't tried to do that. Why am I not trying to do that?
Because it's way too much effort for an Orca that you can just Spark of Inspiration out.
Yeah, but then you can, but like Spark hits you bad, you know? Like this is the thing. Like Wizard's Chest, you get the choice.
Yeah, opponent installs 1 ice on his hand. Opponent installs a Drafter on R&D and a Magnet on HQ, and your Wizard Chest is dead for like first 10 turns of the game.
Okay. Well, I think we got it right. I think it's C tier, right? It's shown up in the same decks.
Just because Jeitinho exists. If Jeitinho doesn't exist, Wizard Chest is like bottom of D tier.
I would disagree at bottom of D tier, but I would say that it would drop down. Okay, next card. Meeting of the Minds. This hasn't done anything, which is maybe a good thing. Right? Do we want to be playing decks where
I don't think it's a good thing, but like it's just too expensive, like EU.
If I argued for Julie to be in this tier because of the As deck, like that deck was also playing Meeting of the Minds.
It was playing it, but like not. I don't think it was like a mandatory include in there, where like Julie kind of is.
That was the whole reason that you played like DJ Seb, so you could meetings for it.
You're also like playing like a ton of connections in that, so at least you're probably not paying 4 for this, right? Like you're gonna pay like 1 or maybe 2 at most in that deck specifically.
We're like making a lot of arguments about a deck that like did well at the very early meta, and it wasn't seen ever again.
So. Yeah, like it's just paying like, 4 for the effect is just way too much, and then you still have to install the card. Like no shot, I'm doing that. Like and. At some point, I was thinking like you play this as you're like fetching your Rosetta Stone or you're twinning, but like it's just too slow and like you.
Yeah, I mean the one thing I'm gonna say is that I don't think, as much as like this is expensive and people aren't playing it, I still don't think this is a D tier card, because I think that any tutor that can like this tutors things which are potentially very powerful. There's some very, very powerful virtual resources out there. And so I think, as much as I would say like no one's going to play it, I still think it's a C tier card, because I still think it's a card which people should be aware of that exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm on that, yeah. Like it's like a unique enough effect that it'll do something at some point, and already has done a bit, right?
Yeah, I can be bought on C tier, I guess.
Okay. Next up is the Trojan, which we thought no one would play.
Because we thought it would be a criminal card, but actually no.
This is a shit criminal card, but holy hell, is this one of the most busted shaper cards in this deck, in this pack. Like I would personally, I think this is stronger than Coalesce. I think like its Trick Shot is number 1 and Thessalam is number 2, but I would accept that not everyone thinks this is S tier, but I think this is an S tier card.
Yeah, like the whole idea behind World 3 Arizona started from this card, basically. Like, this card being
but also like World 3 Arizona decks did start with 3 Coalescence and 3 Physarum, and they are on 3 Coalescence and 1 Physarum now.
Yeah, that's the issue.
No, they're not. They're on 3 Coalescence and 7 Thessalums. Because Thessalam is a Muse, Thessalam is a Simul chip. It's like you only have to. They're on 1 Thessalam because you only need to be on 1 Thessalam.
Yeah, like I've 3 influence.
If I've ever needed to get a Thessalam out, I've been able to get a Thessalam out.
Okay, but also it's like it is a good effect, but it's not that much better than Slap Vandal. Like I think World Tree would still exist if you had to use Slap Vandal instead of Physarum. And like,
I massively disagree. What happens when you hit an archer with a like they res an archer? Slap Vandal does nothing. You lose your tree. Like maybe you get through because you break the end of run, but you've lost half your stuff. If you hit a Stavka, you're still like losing something. If you
Jai is already playing Ika for Archer, so like you have
and like what you simply said in like chat. Physarum is the reason that Icewits are kind of barrier centric right now. I think.
Yeah.
Like Bran is one key thing. Like, you just can't like.
Bran's just busted. I mean,
you can play all of those. You can play like any big like one single sub stuff because Physarum just stuns on them so hard.
Yeah,
like,
I think this is
Hydra and specifically. But like everything else, it doesn't really get affected by it. I don't think.
Yes, yeah, no, have you seen anyone play a toll booth apart from Brandon? I know Brandon played a toll booth. Like, let's ignore that fact. Like, why would you play toll booth right now when this breaks it for 1 credit? Like,
I understand, but like every non-NBN faction doesn't have a problem with their Sentry for code gates. I don't think they have changed what they play because of Physarum. It's only NBN.
I don't know. I somewhat disagree. Like we're not
still.
Yeah, but you're not going to stop playing draft. Like it's the big one. Like draft, you're not going to stop playing drafter because you res it for free and it's like absolutely busted if it fires.
I guess MIC is the good comparison there. Like people are still playing MIC. They haven't been scared off it.
Yeah, because not every deck is on.
But like even when you've like Physarum through an MIC, it's not that good.
But Augustus, where are you thinking about the card? It's A tier still in your opinion, right?
Oh yeah. So we were like we were saying that it was better than
arguing. Is it like S tier busted or A tier busted?
Yeah. I think I'm on A tier.
You see, I'm still S tier, but Aksu, I'm going to leave it to you. You get to decide here. Is it S tier or is it A tier?
Can you slot it before burner? I think that's fine.
Wow, we're not tiering ours. Like
we're not ordering it, but it looks better. It's better optics.
Right.
You can create a new tier that's A- and put all the cards that are currently in there already because they're kind of embarrassing when you put them beside Physarum. But I think that's because the cards are bad, not because Physarum's good.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely think this is warped how people are building their decks. Frieden agrees. He says that all of his Corp decks currently play more barriers, and I think that this is why. This is like, this is why all of a sudden like BTL is kind of hot on certainly on JNet casual because you're like, well, you can't deal with triple advanced Theros and a big other card.
Those guys are playing BTL anyways.
Like the triple advanced Theros is Hiko tech, not Physarum tech.
Right. Amelia Earhart. Now, I've been testing this card for the last week because someone was playing it in a fairly interesting deck. I liked the look of it. I kind of rebuilt their idea of a deck. And I was like, this is a card which could do something, but I haven't tested it, and I haven't I didn't have a true idea of what you could do with this card. Now, I've played about 10, 11, maybe 12 games with various different builds with Amelia Earhart in it. In almost all of them, I have fully charged the Amelia. In almost all of them, except for 2, I have not popped the Amelia because either I have won on the turn where I charged it fully, because I've been accessing a ton of cards from Centrals because you have to charge the sodding thing, or I haven't popped it because the Corp has been at 0 credits because I've forced them to res all their ice because I've been running Centrals to charge the Amelia. Now, it did do something very significant in 2 games. Okay, so it got an outfit deck down to 0 credits with the combination of this plus a diversion, and then allowed me to win off a remote, which I wouldn't have been able to get into otherwise. So that was a game where it won the game for me. And it beat a PE deck who I sapped all their credits and then just multi-accessed a load of cards and trashed all their snares. Now, it felt quite good in those 2 games. Yeah, it felt good in those 2 games. So I can't put it into D tier for that exact reason, because I think it does still do something quite busted occasionally. But I think we were exactly right with all of our thoughts about this in terms of if you are multi-accessing that much to charge this sodding thing up, you've probably already won the game. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm surprised we thought that and then still put it in C tier.
Yeah, it's just way to win more.
So it is, but in those games where it's win more, it does win you the game more, right?
Yeah,
so
but you can.
It does do something.
Criminal cards and play just be better.
Well, yeah, but just be better isn't always an option for everyone that's playing Netrunner. That's
but playing a real card that isn't Amelia would also.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Situation.
Maybe. I'm gonna fight to keep this one in C tier because it does do a powerful thing. And it does have the ability to do that powerful thing. Now, whether that
just almost win the game first, and then Amelia will do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Print a card that says at the start of the turn, charge a card, and then
and hope.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I think if charge mechanics were a bit better, I don't think putting this in Padma is correct. Please don't lots of people have tried this deck. I don't think it actually works in Padma. But I've been having the best time with it just in Zaya, and it does feel it feels like it's putting on an additional bit of pressure there. The Corps are icing up Centrals more than they normally would. I feel, or because otherwise I'm getting in and I'm charging up the Amelia, and then that gives me time to but they're not jamming out in a remote.
This must feel like it's just survivor's bias. You remember the 2 games where it won you the game, but otherwise it just hasn't done anything.
Oh no, I remember all the other games as well. Trust me. But it does potentially do something. And if I hadn't won the game on those turns, then it would have done something. If the game did go longer,
just
you want to put it in
fight me and Augustus just to keep it in C tier.
Wow, that's saying something.
I mean, we've put Julie in C tier, and so the standards for getting into C tier are not very high.
I mean, that's my point, right? D tier is cards which we genuinely kind of feel do nothing right now. And I feel like this does do something. It just does it at the wrong time.
Yeah. The way you said that does make me lean towards D tier.
Yeah, you're not selling this very well.
Okay. Well, I'll put it right at the end.
Even Joy agrees with me, and you know how rare that is.
Yeah, that is pretty rare. Okay, I'll put it at the top of D tier. Fine. Right.
Oh no, we ordered the list.
Yeah, we don't order the list. It's still going there because of
He just dragged it in randomly, and it's not representing anything.
It just landed where it landed. Okay, how wrong were we on Muse? Pretty wrong.
Yeah, it turns out having either an extra simul chip or extra SMC or a simul chip in your deck is pretty hype.
Like, and why did we think that this was C tier? I need to go back and listen to this video.
Like, why would I play this when I have SMC in the deck? But like, it just kind of like
some RE builders don't agree with me, but I still think SMC is the better card, and you just play Muse if you want extra copies.
It just so happens hate recursion. You hate recursion.
This is the good type of recursion. I hate shuffling into the deck, but Muse I'm on board with.
I think you can. I think like the optimal play is just playing both. Like you get more like options with that.
Yeah, like this is it. I think the thing with Muse is like you can play 3 Muse and 1 SMC, and then at the very worst you can Muse for an SMC. Like it's very possible.
I feel like you would do it the other way around.
Yeah, you can also get coalescence, and like this is the one card that like one of the cards that lets Arizona to actually be good, right?
Totally. I agree.
Like without Muse, the deck is non-existent. Right?
But it's also
you would have to play less cards. The deck would still be around.
Yeah,
it wouldn't. Come on.
It's also made like Aesop's builds like kind of nutty good. It's made some Reg Arisanas a bit more viable in a different way. It's made people play Ayla. You know, like this card has generated some archetypes which didn't exist.
That's
it was a fun deck that they brought on like intercontinentals. Like the Ayla deck was pretty overrated at the time.
No, I think I've been playing it.
The deck is whack.
It's not whack. I will beat you on PD with it like 5 games in a row. No, I'm not going to bait. I'm going to say I'm going to beat you at best of 5. I will play my version of the Ayla versus your PD, and I will beat you in a best of 5.
Your version with Ayla, like 15 PD deck cards.
No, it's
you can't afford to play deck cards in Ayla, so it's like actually pretty safe. But
yeah,
right. What are we betting on this? Like a monster and next YouTube we're cooking?
We'll come up with something.
You want to give me free stuff even like at UK Nationals as also. Like I will just like write your.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second because I think ours more right than I just made the wrong bet.
You well, okay. I got really lucky on the wording in that.
You got really fucking lucky. Right. I don't think this is S tier. I think we're just saying it's A tier.
That would be my stance, yeah. Yeah, easy A's.
Easy. Lovely. I like easy A's. Right. Whizzing along the bottom, we don't need to talk about Amanuensis. This card is whack. Boitata, also
Amanuensis lower.
I have a fun fact about Boitata.
People were talking shit to me after Amanuensis, like I talked trash on it during the stream. Like people were coming to me like, oh, this card actually cooks, but like it doesn't. People just were overhyping it for like 15 minutes.
I tell you what, drawing 2 is a really, really powerful thing. Like any card that says like draw 2 cards, you should always look at. It should always be good. But it turns out that paying a click and 2 credits to draw 2 is really bad. And that's that.
And don't forget that you lose your banker.
Yeah. It's no. Like maybe at some point there's a dummy box deck which someone hasn't like fully built yet, which makes Amanuensis work.
That will show up just after the Helium Fora deck. That will show up at some point.
Yeah, it's probably the same deck. Okay, so this is staying in D tier. Boitata?
Yeah, Boitata, notably, the only card in D tier to have won an AMT.
Oh,
I'm almost certain no one installed it during that AMT, but it was in the deck. That's the killer for a mulch deck.
It was in the deck. Fine.
I don't think that rescues it from D tier, but
yeah, like, I think this card is just unplayable. Like,
it's not very good. It's not very good. That can stay where it is. This card, Malandragam, I would suggest that we put up one tier because it's not great, but I have faced against some decks which have been playing this, and it has seemed a little bit unstoppable. And in Mercury decks, things like that, which aren't seeing like a ton of play, but it can be pretty like nasty in those decks. And it is like a cheap, like, I'm just going to break any of your small ice, and at later stages, I'm just going to bypass any of your, like, any ice. I think this is slightly better than D tier. I think it should go up to C tier. And that's my thoughts.
I mean, it's good in a bad coin flip deck, basically, what you're saying.
Yes. But that's still, like, good in a, like, it's good in a very certain type of deck. And that, to me, means that it's good.
I don't think it's even good there. Like, it isn't played in like the good versions that actually did something. But it, I guess, it actually did. Yeah, it's C tier. C tier is fine.
Like when you compare Amelia and Malandragam, like Malandragam actually has the ability to do stuff, which is so. I guess.
I mean, I'd put them both in C tier.
I'll keep it in D tier, just as like an insurance for us. But like, you can add it higher.
I mean, no, like, I don't think anyone's going to give us shit for putting that thing in C or D tier.
I would.
Koga is. So,
if I'm watching this tier list,
we'll just have to start beef with Koga, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I think we can do that, right? Even the tiebreakers as a whole can start beef internally.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure someone Freedan mentioned earlier, tiebreakers' greatest rivalry is with tiebreakers. But yeah, okay, right.
Before you start, can I say that me and Augustus before the stream we talked, and we're not allowing you to put Spree any higher than it did.
What is going on?
No, you can't play your like fun detail.
Just like revealing the collusion straight up.
You will not. We won't allow you to do this.
Okay, I'm gonna retort with this statement. Have either of you played a deck with Spree in it yet?
No, and I won't ever.
Then you are like, this is the issue, right? Because my word, Spree is potentially the funnest card in this deck. In this set. I don't think that it's like the strongest card, but like the turns which when I was playing like the Anikam Spree Arasana, the turns where you like use a Spree to do stuff, it felt insane. Like properly I can do pretty much whatever I want to do right now. I've got a Muse in my hand, I've got access to every single Trojan in my deck, and I'm even going to be able to move like the stuff that's on the board around, or the thing which I install around. Like, this card is solid C tier material.
Augustus, you're agreeing with that we're not increasing this, right?
I mean, like, you kind of revealed our scheme, so I feel like it's non-binding anymore. Like, if anyone was going to be a connoisseur of the difference between C tier and D tier cards, it would be Ba. Like, I'm just not going to play with any of these in C or D tier. Like, I'm not sure I can judge.
Cold Lava saying the problem with Spree is you can't play it during the same run as Trick Shot, which is fair, but equally, like that would be the same for every run event in the world.
You Trick Shot burner, like, do anything else, and I agree that Spree might be fun, but like, I don't care.
But that's
it's not good.
Yeah, well, like C tier isn't good card. These aren't good cards. Look at them. Look. We're putting it in the same tier that you've admitted Jeitinho fits in.
It's like you play this in one like fun deck, but like
I mean, it being a fun deck kind of like leans towards some AMT wins, right? Because people just play it for fun, and maybe they win, like they do it enough and they win. So
yeah. So
I'm holding the Aksu Augustus defense line, but Augustus can switch over the side as a traitor.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to start some beef with Aksu by backstabbing him.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. Celestial brings up a good point that Spree. He says, or they say, Spree would be decent if it let you move the Trojans off the server after, and it would be better. Like, I think if it let you move the Trojans after, like, off, like, you can only move them onto the server that you're running on and move them around on that server. I think if you could then move them to a different server, I would actually then be asking for it to go into B tier. But I mean,
if you add like a complete extra effect on the card, it's way better. Like you can add like gain 16 credits to like Wizard's chest, and that card will also go up 2 slots or something.
Okay, well, actually, you can send someone round to my house to assassinate me, but Spree's going into C tier.
Yeah, you're getting Jeitinho for sure.
Okay. Pressure Spike, I think we were pretty wrong on, because quite a lot of people 100%. Were playing Pressure Spike, and I know you hate it, but like you've got to admit, like this is turning up in Bridgman's lists, it's turning up in Soccer's lists. They are quite good deck builders.
Yeah, but they're playing Pressure Spike because they don't have other options, and Soccer isn't playing Pressure Spike anymore, which I think is right. So like,
what is playing? Just like
2 propellers. Yeah.
Because
like that was my verdict of the card, is that you'd much rather have like Gauss propellers.
Yeah, but it's actually like a functional breaker, which breaks barriers, which like in a different meta where like propeller is not enough, like you actually should play this.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
This over Cleaver Turbine, but like I don't know.
Like it's not a D tier card. It does stuff.
It's just like a single card that is like all right, and like it functions pretty well. And propeller like helps it along pretty well. It fixes like the bad things.
Yeah, I think also that, and this might be a classic thing, that this card is better because this card exists. But I think in a meta where people are playing around for Salem Entangler, we are seeing those like big barriers coming out. Things like triple advanced Pharos, things like Logjams with 20 counters on it and stuff like that. And because there's not an easy way to cheat around them. And so I think that Pressure Spike is actually maybe seeing more play because Thessalim exists. That's my thought process.
Ultimately, where would you all put it?
B.
Yeah, I'd be tempted by B, although someone Cold Lava's pointing out that Soccer had a take on Pressure Spike in the post Cascadia interview, which was pretty condemning, which I haven't heard yet. But I think it's definitely.
What does Soccer actually know? Like, just winning 2 nationals is not like a good thing anymore.
That's fair. It's like see it.
You heard it here first. You're starting beef with Soccer next.
Yeah. I would be considering it as a B tier.
I think it's way better than like Sebastian set or anything.
I would lean towards C. I think it's comparable to the Sebastian set, but it's like close enough that I wouldn't hate it if we put it in B tier.
Okay, actually, your initial thing was B tier. I think we're putting it in B tier.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll accept that I've been overruled.
I mean, you were like quite happy.
I think we can also add Jeitinho 1 up.
Yeah, but now
Jeitinho has
you've given me plausible deniability, so.
But can you just sneak Jeitinho 1 up?
Yeah.
Wait, Aksu.
Don't tell the stream. Don't tell the stream, but like just sneak it 1 up.
Yeah. Well, okay. No one's looking. I endorse.
Yeah.
Everyone be cool, okay? That wasn't Aksu that decided on the Jeitinho going up. Lastly, Pretty Mary has also seen like way more play than I expected when this set first came out.
I mean, how much is way more?
Like we thought this would not leave the binder.
One copy.
Yeah, but one copy isn't
yeah, I agree.
Like
yeah, like I agree that it's better than D tier, but
yeah. Oh yeah,
it hasn't done way better.
No, I'm like suggesting we move it up to C tier. I'm not. I don't think this card is cracked. But this is like a better card than we assumed. But that might well be because, funnily enough, it combines with one of the strongest cards in the entire deck, in the entire set, very well. Because turns out it's quite easy at the moment to see 2 cards off R&D, and if you're seeing one more, then that's like kind of worth it. Right? This,
for what it's worth, it's also like probably better than most of the cards in C tier.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd agree.
Than all of the cards in C tier?
I think it's a solid one.
Well, if we're saying that, are we moving up to B tier? Because I would kind of be down with that.
I think it's actually like solid B tier.
There has to be a best card in C tier, so I think we can leave it there and just the best card. But okay, the chat is pressuring us to do B tier.
Yeah, and I mean, like to be fair, like these cards in C tier, like I'm not seeing in winning deck lists and like good deck lists. Pretty Mary, I am seeing.
I guess one of.
Yeah, I also might think that we should move Jeitinho down one, but.
There's an aspect of Pretty Mary where it's like it's bait in a bunch of decks where like playing it is bleeding the worst deck.
It's like
worst choices.
Bad in like
in the decks that it's
decks,
actually,
but like in
in the decks that it's good, it's like solid, which is a B sort of card.
Yeah, I mean Koga's saying it goes in C because it doesn't work by itself, but I think that's like I think right now it's kind of easy enough to proc it. I think if Trick Shot gets banned, it drops a tier immediately. You know? It's like one of those cards. It's yeah.
Yeah, but still, even if Trick Shot gets banned, you still will at some point have a card that pretty much will be like good again.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we're
like,
seeing
it's not like
we're seeing Nyashia be played in like
in
decent decks.
Like,
I mean, that's probably just because Trick Shot also combines with that.
Yeah, I think if Trick Shot gets banned, there's like zero shot that Mary sees play for a very long time. Yeah. But Shot is not good enough to like be on a likely ban candidate, so I think it's like it's going to stick around, and so Mary's going to be an option that you can play one of your decks.
Okay, people pointing out
quickly in chat that Akiko decks will never be real. People are coping so much on that idea being good.
Yeah, it's that's the problem, isn't it? It's there's just I don't know. I still have hope for a Akiko deck to be out there, but it's probably not the case. Akiko got Trick Shot and still. I mean, I don't know. Ace Empress has been doing like pretty good work with the girls' decks, and getting to some like good, like almost always bubbling. Basically, it's like it's so close to being there. But they are also insisting on playing Thunderbolt again, which we'll get to that in a second. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. We can see the like green cards through to orange cards. How the set came out. For Salem, Entangler is a green card. Copulation is a green card. So essentially, this is all green up here apart from the crew, and it's pretty much all orange down the bottom. And Spree.
Yeah.
This looks pretty solid.
Yeah. I'm tempted to move Jeitinho down one. But I'm going to leave it there because Aksu insisted that we put it in B tier.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Right. Okay.
Whereas Jeitinho has done more work.
Yeah, like
so
That's fair. Right. This
Jeitinho
one. This is the Corp cards. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get the
has been winning things. They're doing well with the list.
Yeah, I couldn't get the pictures to show as nicely as on the other one. I couldn't find the right list for it. But we can start at the top again. Hollow Man stays exactly where he is. I don't think any of us are gonna have an issue with that being S tier, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised he's done less than we expected.
Yeah,
like mostly because Ob is like doing worse for reasons I still don't understand. Like stats wise, I mean, like Ob win rate is going down, and I don't understand why. I think that deck is still pretty solid in theory, but I'm not brave enough to test it myself. But like it also fed the degenerate re-education decks, and like is probably one of the reasons Bologna got banned, so it stays in this tier.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's won a ton of things. Player of the Year Jai obviously has been doing wonderful things with Hollow Man in Asa Group. And yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of decks are just trying to kill you at the moment. Only one of them is using the Hollow Man to do that. But yeah, this is an S tier card. Tributary we can also just quickly talk about, and we can just leave it there. Oh no, I click on this thing.
I'm happy with the monster that I got from Jai. Or will get from Jai at some point. For locking into this card getting banned when it probably shouldn't have gotten. I don't know.
You think it shouldn't have been banned?
I think strictly numbers wise, Tributary has one less AMTs than Charlotte, but that's because it got banned, so it's not fair.
Well, there we go.
Tributary is fucked up, but like, I think it probably is fine enough. Like, I don't know.
No, it made the game feel it made the game feel different for quite a while. I think
for our purposes, it's definitely an S tier card, and it definitely is on the ban. So,
yeah, there we go. We got these right.
This is like the one thing we got better than Andre and Usengrin as well, like the Tributary thing.
Yeah, but that was specifically Usengrin, right? I've got the screenshots.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah,
throwing with that one.
I wish I could throw that up on screen right now. You just run another server. Who can't spend 2 clicks in a turn? Right. Corporate hospitality. We're coming for you, Jeff. Corporate hospitality. This is definitely not S tier. The one thing that I do have to say about this card is that I think that this is one of the best designed recursion cards in terms of like the balance and how it works and everything about that. I think it's incredibly well designed. I think it's like perfect. It's awkward to play, which is good for a recursion card. Like you can pull, like it does other stuff as well as recurring stuff. But it's really awkward to play. The fact that it's a double, the fact that it can be trashed, it has a load light going against it. I think it's perfectly designed, but it's not S tier. It's like B tier, maybe C.
I think it's A tier still. Like this in the Asa deck does cook pretty hard, and it enables.
Who is playing it in an Asa deck?
Yeah, who is playing it in an Asa deck?
I just talked earlier today about how he doesn't want it in the Asa deck.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know if there's a deck list that he had it in, but he thinks Restore is better. I shouldn't put words in his mouth, but and like I can see why. Like Restore does seem like better effect in Asa.
Like I think that's the other thing. Right now, you've got Restore, which apart from literally getting operations back, Restore is like a busted powerful recursion card. So why wouldn't you just be doing Restore? It costs 1 click. It installs in the same like it does a hell of a lot of things on one card, and it doesn't remove itself from the game. Not that this one does. But that's a way more powerful. Restore is generally a way more powerful card.
Yeah. Apparently Joe was not even playing this, but I have been playing this in Asia, and it's pretty good. But yeah, I guess I really can't justify A tier anymore.
It is awkward because it is a lot better than most of the cards in B tier. At least it currently.
Yeah, but
I
B
guess
tier, we
clear out the
drop
bad
cards of
cards,
B
but-
tier that are ass. Like half of those cards that I said were good are going down so much.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of these, and they're definitely going down. So they will put B tier,
I mean,
and then we'll
most of them are. Some of them are actually going up.
Well, we'll get to them. All right,
In B
calm
tier.
it down.
Hell yeah!
I've put it in B tier for now.
Augustus looking.
Okay. Charlotte, I think we got pretty right. Right? Charlotte feels A tier. Charlotte has.
I think it's S tier, right?
I think it goes up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it enables the whole Agin Fusion thing, right? It's carried out with Jinteki.
I guess I have played Agin Fusion without it, and it was fine. But that was a very specific set of circumstances.
Yeah,
I mean, Pete did it. No.
Charlotte just is. It's also in the BTL decks as like a card that carries those as well.
It's stupidly powerful in the BTL decks. It feels insane.
Yeah.
It's also notably the only Corp card to ever win 2 AMTs. So
well,
that's like I think the last fact I have about AMTs.
Is it really? But is it should it be in the same tier as Hollow Man?
Okay, yeah. The problem is that as their
S
I
tier
think
is
it's very comparable.
I think the issue is
tier.
A tier is currently bad. A tier is currently bad cards.
Yeah, we'll work on A tier in a second. Stuff's going to move around.
I think A tier is fine, but stuff will just come there, which is closer to it.
Yeah, I think this is. I think it stays in A tier for now. And we can. I will come back to it at the end, and we'll see it compared to the other stuff in A tier where it goes.
I guess my A tier has Eminent Domain and like nothing else, and it is better than Eminent Domain, I think.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay,
it would be awkward to have an A tier with this.
We can very quickly just talk about that because I think Eminent Domain stays exactly where it is. It stays in A tier. We got this card bang on, right? This is a very powerful card.
You can just add Basalt Spire next to it, right?
Basalt Spire isn't.
We're out of order here, guys. Right, we need to talk about see how they run. We need to work out.
Just call it cheater. Like it doesn't do enough. Like the decks just don't show up, although it's like pretty powerful, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
actually has an influence problem. Is like basically the thing that kills it. Like if you could play 17 influence,
end of the lines.
Yeah, but you can.
Jai in chat not understanding how tier lists work. So sorry. See how they run. It does a powerful thing when it does its thing.
Can it? Can you add it to the bottom of B tier?
Yeah,
like, I think that.
It has done stuff.
Yeah, and it will probably show up later, like or I guess the card will be just dead after PE rotates, right?
These aren't in order, so I'm gonna put them here, so because otherwise I'll lose track of what we've moved and what we haven't. Right, Cloud Eater has to go down.
Do any of you think? No. With Shitter, do either of you think it will do anything after PE goes?
It depends on what other single tag punishment there is, right? Like, I think that's
you have to do 5 damage with that to kill people.
Yeah, but I don't know if
I think it's cheater just because it combos with PE and it doesn't show up with PE anyways, so it's C tier.
I mean, like people have played, see how they run decks and won with them.
They have, yes, but they haven't done anything with those.
Yeah, they have won minor events. I think that's like B tier status.
Is this just me checking up NRDB and seeing like all of these winning lists?
I mean, that's a good tool to have for a tier list.
Like CEO filler.
Yeah. So like C tier for me feels like deck that
won like 4-person CEO in Copenhagen. Like we can't count those.
I don't think I would have wanted to count that one, but I'm sure it has done other stuff.
like Alex played one AMP.
Yeah.
Where it was
I was going to say Alex would probably be disagreeing with us on this one, but I think it's still B
Alex
tier
is not
at
here
the
to
moment.
defend it.
Yeah, but it's still
yeah.
it's like a B tier card at the moment, while PE still exists.
You mean like 15 years? You mean like 15 years when it hasn't done anything ever?
Well, in 15 years, like I'm saying it's B tier while PE still exists. So in 15 years, PE won't still exist.
You have to future-proof this.
I think it has done it enough to warrant a B tier at the moment.
No, it hasn't. Like one AMP results where it got second is not enough.
Well, like it still has like a good few AMTs to do it again, and that would be a B tier.
I do think this is like full coping, but
okay.
Well,
you are overruled.
I am going to swing with Aksu, and I'm going to move it down to C tier.
Yes, you're not overruled. I'm backstabbed. Starting beef with Ba now.
Always. Yeah. Because I think it's kind of, I think it can go here, because I think even in PE, I think potentially there's other decks which maybe should be doing something else with the like tag side of things, but like people just want to kill people right now, and that tends to be the best way. If there was maybe a bit less like program recursion around, then maybe you could play this and Retribution.
You're not going to play like see how they run Retribution, no shot.
Why not? Retribution's a good card.
I mean, like if you could do that sort of thing, I think you would do it out of MBN, not
So, well, yeah, but like obviously this is if you were trying to do that kind of thing out of red. I don't think the other cards exist.
Where I should do that.
Yeah. So it's C tier. Done. Right. Cloud Eater has not eaten many clouds.
Yeah, we underestimated how like it's so easy to get to 6 strength echelon, which kind of just kills the card stone dead. Like 6 strength ice is good if it's not a sentry.
I think we got baited by the face check being is so messed up, kinda.
I think we got baited by the fact that we didn't think anyone was going to be playing for Salem Entangler. Because when they res this for 10 and you bypass it for 3 credits, okay, you've still got to like take 2 tags or lose some like damage or whatever, but it's not
also
very
the tag part is pretty huge. When you have like an easy out where Jinteki deck has to start including tag punishment to make the Cloud Eaters like the extra effect work.
Yeah,
it just like muffles your deck construction too much.
Yeah,
I hope people aren't seriously building decks where they do that. Like I think you just use the trash program or trash resource. So
you can
but Jinteki decks don't have enough money to spend like 3 clicks and 6 credits like trashing all your stuff. Like that doesn't feel great.
That's valid. I'm not saying like it's not good. It's going to go down a couple tiers, but you shouldn't put tag punishment in your Cloud Eater decks.
Yeah, but like it's a runner who picks with Cloud Eater, right?
Yeah, but like I think you just ignore the first part of text.
So you just play trash one install runner kind of do 3 net damage. Like why are we not just playing Athene or something? Not Athene, Anansi.
Well, yes, that's the thing that kills it.
Or size plan which actually kills people on face check.
Like once Anansi rotates, this card will be a thing that you play sometimes.
But also being unique sucks ass because like you don't want to include multiple of these, and then it's like one of random face check. Like
I was going to say that it doesn't matter if you're ag, but you can't be ag once Anansi rotates. So C tier seems just fine.
Yeah, I think Augustus can take the blame on this C tier placement.
Okay. And now some people are going to disagree with this because they are going to have hit it. Like they're going to have been like, I lost a game because I hit a Cloud Eater. And if you do,
you hit a Sunset Gun and lose the game.
Fine.
Like that's 5 credits cheaper.
Yeah. Now, Aksu thinks that Basalt Spire stays up in A tier. And I'm going to agree. Yeah. I'm going to disagree. Sorry, I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to see what Augustus thinks.
I mean, like op decks are playing SDS instead of it, so that's pretty damning for it. Like I don't think it goes below B tier, because like if you like you can still make an argument.
Is fine enough. Like there's better 5-3s, I guess, at this point, and this just shows up in like startup punitive decks and the Sebastian K Venti decks. Right?
Yeah, like it is a good effect, but I think like particularly right now, like Ob wants to rush out behind an archer, and so you need those trash program subs to be relevant. SDS is just way better, and it's
yeah, it just doesn't have a home at this point, I think.
Yeah,
like this is if Wayland Rush was better, this would be busted in there. Like if you manage to rush this out, you can just kind of win the game at some point.
Yeah, but people are playing more acidy
in a rush deck.
Yeah, but like, huh?
I mean, like
this cooks in a rush deck, right? Like just like double seamless.
Okay.
I mean, or Hollow Man Ob, right? It's obvious. Like the regular non-asset version of Hollow Man Ob, I think still considers playing this over SDS, because it like gets a lot of value out of recurring audacities and slash and burns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like whereas Acid Ob doesn't care about that so much, so it plays SDS.
Yeah.
I
think BTR is fun though.
Yeah. Now, active policing is the next card we want to talk about. I think that this card is busted but hasn't been cracked yet. I think there are.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there is some real dirty nonsense that you can do with this card, but we haven't seen it yet. And so I think we actually got this one right. I think it sits in B tier, where it's just hanging out until someone works out a deck which everyone wants to be like banned.
Didn't you go almost undefeated with it at EMEA or something like that?
No, I went like 4-2. And it was like, I mean, that wasn't an active policing deck as much. It had active policing, like, was one of the like cool tricks it had, but that was a mitosis deck.
I mean, but like
this will just show up at some point where like you have a combo deck or something, and it just will be pretty good in that at some
like
point.
I'm still
it doesn't fit anymore.
I'm still cooking with this card because I think there's nonsense out there.
I think if PD had 5 more slots, like with the 2 eyes, you could include one of these and like cook.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Man of the Moon's deck plays the lockdown and not active policing. I guess because the lockdown you can play at any moment. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe that's mark against it. That should put it into C tier, but it's like it's on the edge for me, so I don't mind.
I think it's comparable to lockdown, which is like also I think a big tier currently.
Yeah.
So.
Next up is a card which I would potentially consider moving up a slot. It's certainly close to being moved up a slot, which is Boto. This card has exceeded its where we thought it would land, I think.
I don't think you can put it in the same tier as Charlotte.
Yeah, I think it just has to be in B tier because it's still not busted. It's just what Jinteki needs currently in their decks.
And like, I don't think the Glacier decks play any Boto because they just have some influence for Bran.
Like it's just your like discount Bran in the Restoring Humanity decks, I think.
I think it's better than Bran in the Restoring Humanity decks because I think the damage is more relevant than Bran would be.
No, but Bran is always 6 strength though.
Yeah, but like the Restoring Humanity gets to threat 4 incredibly fast, and by then it's already too late.
I mean, but like it struggles a lot when it doesn't get to threat 4, which is like a problem that Boto only makes worse.
Yeah,
like it's a moot point because it doesn't have the influence to play it, and like
like if Bran was a Jinteki card, this would be like D tier. Nobody would ever play this.
Say again. If Bran was a Jinteki card,
if Bran is a Jinteki card, Boto is like D tier garbage.
That's I don't think that you can ever make that as an argument. that is
move past that and keep it in B tier.
Yeah.
Thinking too hard.
We'll leave it here for now. Right.
Yeah, in response to Fudan, I think Boto, like I think RH is exactly at the same spot it was last meta. It just happens to play Boto now, and it changes it.
Yeah. Also, like, okay, here's another thing, which is again why I think Fasalem is so busted. I think Boto's really good right now because Fasalem is good right now, and Boto is one of the few things you can't get past easily early in the game unless you're on Propeller. Right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay. Working prototype was flavor of the month and a horrendous thing to come up against for a little while, and then has kind of fizzled out, which I'm quite happy about.
Yeah, because NBN got banned.
Like, I think it's
still play this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I played this in my NBN decks.
Yeah, like,
and it's still a workhorse. It's just like without the R+ shell, you can't play it anywhere.
Fine. I think we got this right. This is a B tier card. I don't think it's quite A tier, but I think this is very powerful. This is powerful.
I could actually put it in A tier, I think.
I think if we had moved Charlotte up to S tier, we could put Boto and it on A tier, and that would be coherent. But this also just keeping them both.
Okay, well, in which case, I'm just going to do that.
This is one of the.
Yeah. If it's Charlotte that's stopping us do this, then we can do this.
That's fine.
I think this looks nicer to me.
Okay, fine. Because otherwise, we're going to end up being really, really bottom heavy here. Okay.
I mean, there are cards that are going way up.
Yeah. Bring Them Home is a card which we have exclusively seen in PE asset decks. Kind of understandably, it seems to be the best place for the card to be there.
But like, are they even consistently playing that?
Like, I mean, for the 1 week that they existed, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember seeing Milo's deck, but or not.
I think it had 2 copies in it. I'm pretty sure it had 2. But either way, I think this is way less powerful than active policing, and like definitely like a C tier card.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Cool. What do we think about king making? I think we might have got this one right.
No, king making goes.
No, it's going down.
I think I probably argued for king making in D tier already back then, and I'm still.
Yeah, I remember me trying to keep it up because of the like high value with like AR enhanced security or something. And it did something.
Have you not played any of the like king? You need to play some king making decks. They're.
I have played it. It's not. It's all right. Like yeah.
Like it would just be better if you played a 5/3 in those decks.
Sure. Yeah, if you have like.
I guess that's less true now that we have fake 5/3s and not real 5/3s.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's like you could play a 5/3 in that deck, but you don't have Bologna. So what the hell are you putting in it? It's like I'd rather play a king making and be able to score it out.
I mean,
I think you play king making, but that's still like bad enough that you don't.
Yeah, you don't have Bologna, so you shouldn't be playing NBN at all.
Yeah,
that's kind of like a mark against all of these.
Yeah, except like asset spam decks that can deal with crim or something.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm moving it down to C tier. I can't put it in D tier. There's going to be some real bad cards in D tier, like real bad cards.
True.
Piranhas.
I think I've had an argument for moving up.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to move it up. It's in these like fast NBN decks. It's really frustrating to go through multiple times. Like I think this is one of the cards that is like making the Asmari deck be able to exist currently.
I think I agree. Now, interestingly, when the process played at Bristol Regionals, they switched either all or most of these out for Messner Chestos. And
they are allowed to make mistakes, yes.
And I think I spoke to Chris Dyer afterwards, and he said he thought that it was probably wrong to have done so, but I don't want to quote him on that because I can't remember if that's exactly what he said. But either way, I agree. I think this is like a really hard card to deal with. You know, like you can't
at any point, basically, yeah.
Yeah, like if you've tried to break this with like a shibboleth or something.
Oh no, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. So we're happy with it in A tier? I'm pretty happy with it in A tier.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. Descent. I think Descent goes down. I think it takes a descend.
Well, okay. I'm not out of fun facts. It has an AMT.
Okay.
It had exactly one copy in a deck that also had Hammer.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on what that deck was, but it won an AMT.
If Op comes around again, like Descent is pretty hype.
That's it. It's like it's fine.
It's just a 2-coster in Ob. That's the thing. Like if you have any other good ice in Ob that costs 2, you play that instead.
Yeah.
Like effect is basically like doesn't do anything. It's basically an ice wall that you pay 2 for.
Yeah, well, it's an ice wall, but it's also a different type of it's an ice wall which they can't break with a cleaver, for instance.
No, it's like Quandary that you play 2 for.
I mean, Quandary was a very good card. So.
Yeah, but not if you pay 2 for it.
Yeah, it's a lot worse if you pay 2. But I think it's still playable if you play 2.
It's playable, but it's like C-tier playable.
I think it's like corporate hospitality much to play.
No, like corporate hospitality actually does something like that you sometimes need. Like you don't need a 2-cost ice that ends the run and has like a minor effect. Like if you didn't have any like spin doctors or anything, you could play this, but like it's just worse as like a shuffle effect and spin. Anyways,
I'm not attached to the card enough to fight for this, but I think it's which is for me is B tier, but
even in
C tier
Game Freud saying that in Glacier Wayland this is good, but in Glacier you just play Drudge Work and
I also think in Glacier Wayland is specifically not good. Like apart from for capping off servers against like inside jobs and bankers and stuff like that. Like it's absolutely fine in Ob as a 2-cost piece of ice, but that is exactly
but like you
what
play
it is.
It's basically that you don't have enough influence to import Thimble Rig in Ob.
Yeah. Maybe it should be D tier then. Are we putting in D tier?
I mean, it's still fun. It's C tier, I think.
It has a role to play, right? It
the D tier cards are actually horrible. So
yeah, okay, we can put it in C tier, which is our role player, right?
LARPing tier.
Yeah. Okay. Now Hammer, on the other hand, is a card that does do stuff. This is a pretty mean ice.
It's basically a tech card into a couple of specific decks, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's an NBN card in disguise, I think.
It is. It's an NBN card or a card which you put in your decks which are on end of the line because it says give attack. Like I think
everybody took this out after Mulch got banned, right?
I don't know. I've been seeing it come back
around. People didn't play it for its text much. I don't think. Like you just have to like the subroutines, and the 6/4 as a like cost to strength ratio is decent if you care about the subs.
Mm-hmm.
The annoying thing I find about this ice is that the subs don't do quite what you want them to do. If you had a choice of like, if it trashed a resource and it trashed a hardware and it gave a tag, or it like basically all of the decks which you think that it would be really good against, it's not quite as good as you want it to be. You know, like it would be actually pretty good against kit decks because A, they can't charge their Lobosome off it, and B, it like trash is part of their rig, but they can always let that last sub fire. So you're like, well, that kind of does nothing. And then they're like, okay, well, I'll just take a tag. Or like sometimes they just don't have any hardware or resources installed anyway because it's kit and it's literally just got like a Lobosonic down. So it doesn't quite do enough in those. One? Like I've played enough. I've played plenty of times where kit has nothing down before like turn 5 or 6, apart from like a Lobosonic. Like just
like then it's just like pay 6 to give a tag to them.
Yeah, which is pretty bad. So it's like it can be quite mean, but the whole like you can only break one sub. I think the time when that's best is sometimes against criminal. When they're trying to break it with a boomerang. Like I think that's the only
but
time.
Only if you care about the tag, right? Because if you don't care about the tag, they just let the one of the other 2 subs fire.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think that moves it. I think for what we've described, it feels like a B-tier sort of card.
Yeah. I would also agree. Okay, let's talk about my bet with Aksu. So my bet with Aksu was based around the card, The Powers That Be. Now, what I was trying to get across from my thoughts was that this card is going to win some really big tournaments. And I decided to bet on the fact that it would turn up in, what did I say? Like 50% of all decks in the top cut or something silly like that. Like I was like, this is gonna be in half of all the top cut decks.
Which you might have even said 75.
I think you said 75.
I might have said 75. Right. Now, it didn't end up in 75% of all the top cut decks. But what it did end up in is exactly 75% of all the like continental and intercontinental winning decks. Right? We had like Asa, Orb, who were all playing 2 copies of it. And then the other deck that won was a kill deck. And so, like, obviously... Yeah. wasn't on it because it wasn't planning to score. This card is very powerful. This card does bonkers things in Ob. It does bonkers things in Asa. Aksu, where does it go? You decide.
I mean, I kind of have to apologize to Steam sponsorship. I didn't like know your game at that point yet. So even if this is worst team sponsorship, it's still a pretty great card. Like scoring something in Asa with this is so goddamn cracked. Like Hollow Man install Rashid that just blast off is so nice. So it just has to be A tier, I think. It's just such a good addition into like asset decks currently.
I think like if I think right now there's a lot of kill decks in the meta, and so this card is like it's obviously like not as good in when there's like kill decks everywhere. If the meta becomes a lot more about scoring behind ice, then this might even like go up. I mean, like this is a must.
Yeah, it's just like in Asa it's so good. In Ob it's so freaking great. Like in those 2 specific decks that are really good, it's just so like amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, like
it's not everywhere like the Aster cards that we have currently, and like it doesn't carry those decks. It's just a really good include.
Yes, I'd agree.
And it's kind of like sometimes can be like not. It doesn't help you score out directly, so you need something else to help with that part of the gameplay. So.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you like recover often after scoring out. Which
scoring out an agenda is not as bad if you can get the Rashida online during the same action.
Sure. Augustus, any disagreement? You happy with it in A2?
No, I think that's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Like pretty comparable to Eminent Domain. I think both of them.
Yeah.
Like do a lot of work in their respect.
Okay, B tier we've talked all about. C tier we go along until we get to the card that you play with wage workers, which I can't remember its name of and I can't see it.
No, Warm Reception.
Warm Reception. Oh man, I hate this card. I don't quite know where to put this because we've moved working prototype up. We've mainly seen warm reception with working prototype. I think it definitely shoots up at least one tier.
Yeah, I think it's weaker part of the combo. I think, right?
Well, it depends. It's like I think just as strong as prototype, but the fact that WageWorker does the same thing means
you can play prototype in like ASA without wage workers, I think.
Oh, I think ASA has preferred Regolith for a long time. Like
you can play like that.
You could also play working reception in ASA, and it would be decent, but people don't because they have better things to do.
Prototype is in B, right? I think prototype is the bigger part of the thing. Like working prototype is good. But
that's interesting because I know that Jeff and Andre disagree. They say it's the other way around because it's warm reception which allows you to expand out way faster than the runner can deal with. Now, I agree with that, but equally, I personally will trash for working prototype before the warm reception most of the time. Unless like they don't have stuff to well, if there's like lots of stuff on the
prototype
table,
is all like more often ice because work.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like you can ice it. Yeah, I think we could just stick warm reception in B tier and.
Yeah, I think B tier is right. I think it's worse because because wage workers kind of usurps its slot a bit, not because it isn't good as a card. That is my take on it.
Also, we did talk about a lot of these cards and they're only 2 credits and people will just trash them. And it turns out that 2 credits is enough to be a pain if you're trashing enough. Okay, next we have Brasilia Government Grid.
Which combo deck have you played with this time with it?
Yeah, potentially a really powerful effect which has not done a thing yet. And I've tried it. It's really hard to make this card work.
I think the biggest issue with this card is that it has one subtype that is pretty good in HP already.
Yeah, basically, if this wasn't a region and you could put it on top of a Tranquility home grid, then you're cooking.
Yeah, but like de-dressing something to make your brand 8 strength against a turbine deck, making them pay like 4 extra credits.
Or if you could play this and Ginger in the same server, like then you've got something going. Like, but without the currently HB just doesn't have the money and the efficiency to put all the stuff out and be able to actually res it so that you can then de-res it and do all the stuff that this card needs to do.
Yeah,
I'm pretty down on the fair aspects of this card for which all this matters.
No, but the point is that you can also do unfair things with it, but at that point it's kind of like because you can play Tranquility.
I mean, the problem for the unfair things is actually Fizerum and Crew, not that you don't have money will do.
Yeah.
So the unfair things don't do anything against Fizerum. So
yeah,
you have a deck that loses.
I think that's it. It's like, yeah, you can make a 9 strength gatekeeper right now, like quite easily using this card. Like that's pretty freaking insane. But if they get through it for 2 credits, then does that mean anything? Like, no. Yeah, I think like maybe if some of the ice breaking solutions that runners have at the moment disappear, then this card gets if
like HP gets some really nasty face checks that can like be scary. I think that helps.
Yeah, but people were scared of Bloop, and it's still not scary enough.
I mean, no, you're not moving it. It's C tier still, right?
You think it's?
I mean,
I don't think
it's better than Kingmaking for sure.
Like unless you think that Fizerum is going to get unbanned at some point. It will never do
it. There is like the ass cards that nobody will play. Brasilia Grid will at some point have do something in like.
But
only I guess Fizerum could like drop off the face of the earth.
Fizerum gets banned or something, or like there will not be a good.
If Fizerum gets banned, I'll move it up to C tier.
No. Yeah, or like Shaper gets annihilated some way.
If Shaper gets banned, I'll move it up to C tier.
Yeah, the whole fact. No, you move it now because the future proofing, you know.
No, we'll just do another revised
tier list. D tier will be.
Remember, we're desperate for content.
Cards. No, look at the other D tier cards and say Brasilia Grid is worse than them or better on the same level.
I've tried using it, and I kind of think it might be. As much as it should do a bunkers thing. Okay, maybe it should sit exactly where Cloud Eater is, to be fair. Because it's like, it potentially does something really busted, but it's currently being stunted by the fact that there's answers to it. So maybe that's actually correct.
Yeah,
it
and Tranquility, like, keeps it.
Yeah, we're going to...
move it back into C tier, like...
Yeah, fine.
I disagree with this as a resident Brazilian Grid lover, but it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to defend your sides for you.
Minimal.
Right, I did make a little caveat at the start of this, right at the very start, saying that when we did our first tier list here, this was at when cards had been released, about like 12 hours after all the cards have been released.
Yeah, something like that.
None of us have played with any of them.
1 or 2 proxy games, and that's it.
Yeah. Cohort Guidance Program was a card which none of us had really comprehended how good it could possibly be.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we got it in the right place.
Huh?
No, surely not.
Has
did they put something in the Ireland water supply or something?
Like, Jai randomly put one into his deck, but like...
Yeah, and one Intercontinentals.
But he...
I mean, Jai is the greatest of all... He's the year's best player, but like, that's still like not enough to like put bad cards in there.
But like, I think Jai doesn't have it in his deck anymore, because he like is worried about...
Yep, like
he wasn't back then.
Yeah, so, but like, this was like Cohort Asa was like a monster for like quite a
2
while.
weeks.
You know. Okay, yeah.
For like,
quite a while, in a short time.
One event, maybe.
Yeah, like Cohort Ace was good until people just put Holoman in there instead.
Yeah, also like that was the times when you could spend your influence on Tributary.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying it's a bad card. I guess you could argue moving it up to B tier, but I like. It's like
I think B tier. I think it's actually like B tier material.
Let me put it this way: if you run a Cohort Guidance Program, do you instantly trash it?
Like
assuming you have some credits, assuming you have like
no, it doesn't
at least
depend.
a couple of credits. Like, you always trash this card, right?
Card.
Yeah, because it's
like half of an economic warfare, and that's it.
But like what I'm saying is like this is like a must trash card. Like if you're letting these like run on the board, like what are you doing?
Like gives so much tempo. It's a scoring tool also. Like you stick this around. It's just so much.
I'll like the Hearts and Minds is also a must trash.
Hearts and Minds is also going up in the list.
Yeah,
no, that one's definitely not going in B tier.
What the fuck?
We'll get to that. Whoa! We need to get to that because that's going to be a big argument then. Because I don't think I was even going to say it should be in B tier, but we'll get there. Anyway, Cohort Guided Program, we all agree goes into B tier. We'll get to Hearts and Minds.
I think it might be actually A tier.
What, Cohort? Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I will use my lifeline and let Jai pick.
Okay, fine. We're gonna ask a friend. Jai, you've got about 10 seconds to write in chat which tier it goes in. This is all on you.
We can continue to the next card in the meantime.
Yeah. We'll see where he puts it. Right, Stoke the Embers does cool stuff in Epiphany and nothing else.
We have the result, bottom of A.
There we go.
Yeah.
Done.
You think you know, and then they do this to you.
Yeah, Stoke the Embers
is worse than a 3/2, even in Epiphany. It goes in D tier.
Yeah, it's pretty like whack. I was so sure that there's a combo deck for this, but nobody has found it yet.
There isn't. There
will be one at some point.
Yeah,
there will
maybe
be one at some point.
It is fun in Epiphany, but it is it's like exclusively an Epiphany card. Like we've seen some people play it in like Prav. No, it's like it's too narrow to like for me to consider it as.
Like imagine the combo when you score at like 7 points in a turn.
Well, like, then you go build me that deck, and then I'll put it in.
If you play Eternal and switch CI into Anbiane, this card cooks.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think it does. You can play Astroscript in Eternal. Like, why would you play this?
You play both.
Jai's got a good point. If DRM installed directly from R&D rather than bringing it to your hand, then this would be pretty cool. Like you couldn't score it out that turn, but like you could generate some good like forward tempo.
You play like Restore or something. Like you install this on Restore, and then Hollow Man.
Yeah. All of that's very cool.
With a 3/2, just use a 3/2.
You don't have like you have 3 of those.
Like, or what's the other bad card that is a 4/2 that is just an Astroscript but worse? Like that card is also better. How many?
Yeah.
Hell no, it's not. Like you get cheat this out of the deck somehow, and it does like actually something for you.
Like with the Restore play that you mentioned, that just scores a 4/2. You don't need to like do shenanigans with Stoke the Embers.
No, but you have Arella Salvatore in there also, and then you score out like a post-through dividend.
When have you ever seen anything like any deck actually do this? Like in a dream, maybe.
The Epiphany deck does do this. The Epiphany deck does do that. It's one fun deck. That's it. It's a D tier card.
You have you just set up a server with Hollow Man, Suns on City Grid, Arella Salvatore, and then score changes.
No, don't.
You just ask the runner nicely to not do anything for a couple million turns, and then you do all that. Is that the plan?
You play like Anotic Void to stop the runs or something.
No, sorry. I'm cutting it off at this point because I'm 100% with Augustus on this. This is a D tier card. Right.
I couldn't swing you.
Yeah, you go build me your combo deck and we'll see how it does. Seraph seems perfectly fine where it is. It's like it is nasty if you ever run into it. It does do something, but like it's not as bad as Capacitor, so it can stay in C tier for now, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like a better toll boost on paper, so it's like fine. It just doesn't have a home because like Ambient Glacier is just so dead. So like it just
also I think it doesn't have a home.
Also, it's a worse Hydra.
But you know, that's just me.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, and Hydra and a lot of things.
Yeah, this card just doesn't have a home.
I think there's an argument for putting it in D tier because like Capacitor is like very clearly the bottom of the barrel of D tier.
No. Like this will be at some point good when Ambient Glacier is good again. This will be included in that.
But isn't it like your entire life mission to make it so that Ambient Glacier isn't a thing? So
I don't think Ambient Glacier is fine.
Oh, just GameNet specifically.
Yeah, GameNet is the thing that I hate with a passion and will burn to ground if anybody plays it.
I mean, but think of GameNet Seraph. That's just... Anyway, we can move on.
Yeah, we can move on. Right, Sudden Commandment is definitely better than a C tier card. I think we can probably all agree on that. I hope so.
It's better than C tier, but I think this card is overhyped, for real.
Very possibly, but it does some pretty nonsense stuff.
I think it's better than Cohort Guidance.
It's hell no.
Also, like Cohort Guidance program stays exactly where it is. We have we've asked the player of the year.
You're not trying to snake this out.
I mean,
There's a
I'm not
lifeline for the
fighting
cohort program.
on the thing. I'm just like saying that it like.
Which decks are you playing this on? Just the Ashmere Glacier one, right?
There's the
Nowhere
PD
else.
deck.
PD.
One of them.
The PD deck is the PD deck should not be on this.
What do you mean? Like I play that deck, and when I draw sudden, that's when the deck feels good.
No, you just play yellow or something. Like this card is just a trap card in there.
We've also seen this in some fast advanced MBN decks, which haven't quite popped off.
They haven't done anything. They did one in one event.
I think in terms of things that made the Asmari deck good, Sudden Commandment is number one, and Piranha is like a very second.
No, it. Yeah. All right, maybe I kind of.
Yeah, like Sudden Commandment is the way that those decks kill through like Class Act and Stone Chip and things like that. The fact that you can draw like 5 cards clicklessly makes this card like bonkers when cards in hand is very, very important. So it's a very important card in that deck, I think.
It's also not just exclusive to that deck. I think if like NBN was alive still and you didn't want to play assets for some reason, Sudden Commandment YDL is still good in that.
Yeah. Also,
I'm checking if the other decks played it.
Yeah. Also, you know what deck would probably play like 3 of these, Aksu? Definitely any fucking combo deck, which is trying to put Stoke the Embers on a Sans Arena server. So, just think about that.
You're making an argument for moving it down, but not moving it up.
Okay.
This
we can keep
it in like the opera. Yeah.
We can keep it in B.
Deal.
Right?
I
think we can keep it in B.
fine with that.
I'm going to make my own better tier list after this. That's going to switch.
Just those two. Yeah, well, we can't move cohort. That's there by law now. Nuvum.
Do we have more spots in detail that we can fill with this?
The problem is that means that Nuvum is in the same tier as Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And I've seen players do somewhat okay with Nuvum.
Yeah, but could they have done the same thing out of any other ID, kind of?
Maybe.
Probably better. I think Nuvum is basically a gimmick that people tried for a second and dropped off because it's not good enough.
What? I have it in my info, but didn't I win a BMT with it?
But like you could play that deck from like some other ID. Also, it was like week 1, and Jai is like an alright player.
An alright player. Got it.
An alright player.
Not
player of the year. I might be being swung because I know that, like, basically Rob did pretty well with Nuvum at Bristol Regionals, and Rob is my nemesis, and so, like, obviously I don't want the things. So
any deck that does good in one tournament that is just located that buys TOing gets like 2 extra placements.
I just don't think that it's as bad as Thunderbolt. That's where I'm put. That's all I'm saying. If you want to put it down in B tier and say they're as bad as each other, then I will respect that.
I think it's pretty comparable to all the cards in C tier, like except Kingmaking that should be down. I don't know why we still have that in C tier, but I think in C tier is fine for it.
I would just put Nuvum on top of D tier and Thunderbolt at bottom of D tier, but I'm fine with it being in C tier.
You can't order tiers. You can add a new tier if you want. We can have a Thunderbolt tier.
Well, I don't know.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
Okay, Isaac. I think he stays where he is.
No,
he's like.
I think Isaac can go to B tier. The card is actually brilliant. Huh?
I mean, I played an Isaac deck that was pretty sick the other day, and I don't think that merits it going.
No, it's a really sick Glacier card, right?
It's not like it's
+2 string and 3 advancements. Come on.
It's yeah,
like,
but
plus 2
that's
strength
only
for
relevant
every
if
single
the
ice in the
advancements
server.
count.
Yeah, but this card places them for free.
Yeah.
For faster, you have to pay 3 credits.
Yeah, but like you have infinite credits anyways.
I feel like ice strength might not be your problem in that world.
I think that might be the problem. Like now,
I think this is beat their
boosting
card.
your
Like it will
really like because boosting your ice strength right now does not seem like the way you're winning games, right?
boosting ice strength, huh?
Look at Corporate
just
Hospitality and Hammer and Sun Commandment and tell me that any of those cards is comparable to Isaac.
100%.
Okay, I think you're smoking something on that.
Yeah, I think
Hammer,
me and Augustus are gonna overrule you on
putting
this one.
Hammer like it. You can be wrong. I won't blame you.
We did call it, I think, in our original tier list that Isaac is best in like random non-Wayland decks that just use it for strength and don't actually care about the advancements.
That was a really bad plan.
Yeah, but
I think that's right.
Like, I think that's right. If you use it to like, if NBN Glacier was good right now, like just giving yourself like 8 strength. But
you have to shuffle it around like 15 times
sick.
to get the counters on something.
Well, on the other hand, if you handed me a BTL deck that was playing Isaac, I would throw it in the bin. Like that's just Isaac is just not a good card. Yeah, you can.
I kind of want to call somebody. Can I call Iron Fox or something?
In BTL, you can just advance your ice more, and they gain extra strength. You don't have to put cards in your deck to do that.
I kind of want to use my other lifeline.
Okay.
You use your lifeline. You absolutely use your
lifeline. Right.
What time would it even be for Iron Fox? It's
the same as Jai, and Jai is still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're
just built different.
We're going 2 on. We're 2 on 1 on you here. I'm saving my lifeline for when we get further down this list. Okay, we've talked about State the Embers. Thunderbolt. I played Thunderbolt for like a week solid recently because I wanted to be sure. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. It was quite fun, like just jamming something out behind a Tive turn 1 and scoring it. But like that's fun.
Actually, I feel like we should stage an intervention here. Bach can't
I feel like.
Hey, I'm saying this is fun. I didn't say any of this was good.
This is like going to a used car salesman that tries to upsell you on a like really ass car that has like 1,500 miles on it.
I am
like
not trying to upsell
it as like a good Porsche.
I am not trying to upsell this. What I'm saying is I played it for a week. It was fun. Bloop is a really good card in Thunderbolt, and that is as far as it goes. It was fun, but it was fun because I was just playing Jammy HB. Jammy HB is kind of fun anyway, right? You've got 3 seamlesses, you're just scoring out 4/2s and what have you. Yeah, you know exactly. You're sticking stuff on Tranquility Homegrids. All of that is just good stuff. To make Bloop work,
why do you have to like ruin a good deck with being in Thunderbolt and like playing random size and punch or something?
Because someone's got to test these sodding cards so that like we actually have some basis to go on them. Anyway, Thunderbolt is gash.
I like my approach better where I just miss it out of hand.
Yeah, I agree.
But also, like, Thunderbolt is particularly bad because Thassalum exists. And you'll notice I've said that for so many cards on this sodding Corp tier, but I'm probably going to go back and put it into S tier for Verana.
But all these cards would be bad without Thassalum, though. So, like, I'm not 100%.
Sure. Not all of them. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. Right.
Like, which one goes up? Like, actually goes up a tier?
Fine, you're correct. Lightning Laboratories hasn't
definitely a card.
It's a card with words on it. It's really hard to score.
Yeah, I've never seen this card.
I need to continue upsetting Aksu by playing 3 ADT and 2 Lightning Laboratories instead of Offworld. That wouldn't be for any competitive advantage. just
No.
accept.
I mean, this has the potential to do something really busted, but by the time it has that chance to do something really busted, you've already lost the game. Now, notice how that's the opposite to Amelia, where it has a chance to do something really busted, but by the time that you do the thing that's really busted, you win the game. So this is worse than Amelia, is what I'm saying. It's a bad card. It stays in D tier.
Yeah.
Any arguments? No.
No.
I don't. Oh, I know what this card is. It's like I was like I couldn't even work out what this next card was. It's Lycian multi-munition, and this would go in.
Yeah.
This goes in F tier if we had an F tier. Man, I hate this card.
It's fun. Like this was like the.
Actually, we need an intervention for you. You enjoy paying 3 credits.
Like you install this and wWho on like turn 1, and it's like actually frustrating and a bad face check for the opponent.
If you have exactly those 2 cards, yeah.
Yeah, like this and Tranquility Grid and something like PD cooks with this at some point in like turn 1 if you have like perfect opening.
Like let's just point this out, okay? I was playing Thunderbolt for a week. This is technically a good Thunderbolt card. It was the worst card. Like it's the worst ice in my deck. It was worse than Wave. I would have rather had a Wave every single time when I drew a Lycian multi-munition. This was a bad card. And that's in Thunderbolt, the one deck where it's meant to actually work. Like, this is terrible. You can't tell me that this is going up past D tier.
Can you move it like in front of Thunderbolt at least?
I'll move it in front of like laboratories. There you go.
Next card.
Serachian Blade is terrible. This card's really bad.
Like,
what happened to the ice in
I
this?
don't get the number. I don't get routines. I don't get why it's like anti-Hush card randomly.
Yeah, like there's like a world where it does something after drafter rotates. But like I'm not sure it does much.
Yeah.
Even after that point, you just play like Ansel or something.
It's pretty expensive.
Trash a random like one random bracers.
If like, literally no sentries got printed in the next set, which is like the massive.
I think I'm importing a sentry over playing this into PD.
I think, in my opinion, this is a chimera ice. You know what I'm saying?
No,
that's actually pretty valid. Yeah,
like this.
Chimera.
Yeah, like Chimera format ice. This is an ice which you draw in Chimera and you put it somewhere, and then at some point you have to res it, and you both read it and laugh. And that's it.
Yeah, that's valid.
Okay.
I'm not arguing for putting it in or anything.
Yeah,
but it is probably better than a lot of the cards in D tier, I think.
I think we talk about. I'm going to talk about Sisyphus in a minute because I just want to move past the other cards, which are very quickly. JK Jeitinho stays
bad
where
daily
she is.
Quest, I don't care. Bad card.
Yeah, fine.
Bad 2-cost trash.
Yeah, people can LARP that it's like fun and good in like near a hub where you get the install or something, but like in hell no.
Yeah, Capacitor is trash. We all agree on that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't good in like throwback Acme even.
Yeah, I was going to say you're the only one that's actually tried this card, so you can talk about that.
Yeah, it's ass. Like complete dog water.
Okay. Right. So then we have four cards.
Can we just
cards left?
Pick business as usual also and keep it in D tier, and then go to the actual real cards that we have to talk about?
No, because I don't think business as usual does stay in D tier. I don't think it moves up much, but it's not a D tier card. This has seen some play.
All of these cards, except Sisyphus, in D tier. You're gonna have a hard time convincing me otherwise.
Oh my gosh!
Keep Logjam in D tier.
Wait! We'll get there. This is because we've got to have this argument in a second. So let's start with the easier. Let's start with the easier ones. Business as usual has done stuff. It's been seen in some decks.
When
it has like it's been in Tuno's deck. It did get cut out. Yeah. Okay. Fine. It does some cool stuff with Vladis Burst City Grid, and thus it's not completely
nice
gash
with
card.
a whack card. Yes.
Like
it's ass. Like,
it's
come
not
on.
a whack card.
Its niche is exactly if you're playing a Wayland deck that already wants to play Vlad Grid for some reason. That's the only world where you play.
Yeah.
I don't think it's correct to play it in like Pratt or anything. Because like if you
I disagree. If you're Vlad, I think it's pretty sick.
If your Vlad Grid is alive in Prav, you can like kill the runner any number of ways. The problem's always going to be that they trash those on site.
It's not like chat is trying to talk like the card is not completely unplayable, but it just does nothing. You don't want to include cards that don't do jack shit.
Like if you want to put it in C tier exactly because like of Tuno's deck, I understand that.
I mean, like, it's not offensively bad like some of the cards, but some of the bad cards actually create some enjoyment at being bad. But this is like just like basic plain bread. Like just like
it's really funny because if the deck which you seem pretty set on with Stoke the Embers, like Arella Salvatore, etc., ever becomes a thing, I guarantee you it's playing 3 copies of Business as Usual.
Yeah, probably.
Like absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Wait, are you like adding a Vlad grid on top of that Sansan grid?
Yeah, you play like
it's probably
something that lets
it's potentially playing Vlad grid instead of Sansan grid, because if you think about it, like your Stoke the Embers puts a counter on something, so you want to be able to like
Vlad grid
do something with that.
Only once per turn, so why would you do that?
Is Vlad grid just once per turn? Maybe it doesn't work then. Screw it.
Yeah, like, I would have classic very hard. Card. Hell no, it's not the 45 cards. You'd like click for credit rather than play this.
Yep.
Just like whack as hell.
Either way, this is not an unplayable card. I can't keep it in D tier considering how bad some of the cards are in D tier. We've got to move it up. It just goes into C tier. It slots into C tier. It sits right next to Isaac.
It's Isaac was robbed.
I will meet you at this is the worst card in C tier probably.
Fine. There we go. Right. Okay, now we get into the slightly more fun stuff. Sisyphus Protocol. Now, have you had the misfortune of playing against a Sisyphus Protocol deck that's actually managed to score one out?
I have. Luckily, I had 15 credits and 6 cards in hand to leave the size and done hit.
Yeah.
I played against the Sub K deck a bunch of times, and even knowing what it was doing, I got beat like significantly.
Yeah, like the card is actually pretty sick. And when Turbine goes, this will tax people out so frustrated, like badly.
100%. If we're ever at a point where ice matters again, which currently, kind of rarely, this card becomes really, really scary.
It announced it twice. Like, criminal gets taxed for 10, which is like just GG's. Like, criminal can do anything after this.
I wouldn't get too hyped. I did without Turbine break like an 17 strength on C 3 times the other day. So like, infinite money is still a thing even without Turbine. But
I mean,
like Sisyphus still goes up a good bit.
Yeah, I think it goes like B tier. B tier is my pick, I think.
I think I'm kind of happy with that. As much as I think Cursor's got it kind of right. Sisyphus is the new Stegodon, right? It's not exactly good, but it is horrible to play against.
I actually think it's pretty nice.
Yeah, a lot better than Stegodon.
Yeah, like Stegodon
it's like Stegodon if it didn't randomly force you to pay 1 million credits to use its effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your Regenesis is out, and then opponent's win condition is just out at sometimes.
To be fair, actually, David brings up a good point in the chat. We ranked this Sisyphus without the knowledge that Tributary was going to get banned, and it was actually a D tier card with Tributary in the format.
Yeah, because this just non-boss so badly with Tributary.
Yeah, they just don't work together.
Right.
So now that it's been banned, it gets freed up to B tier.
Yeah. So at this point, we disconnect Augustus from the call so we can talk about the last 2 cards, right? Let's talk about Hearts and Minds, because this card
Why do I hear someone breaking down my door? That's not supposed to happen.
This card we put down here because it's like it's never going to do anything. It's really cheap to trash. Like whatever. If this card is ever left on the table and not trashed, the things which you can do with it are absolutely bonkers.
You have to add a couple more asterisks in there. You also have to have an agenda on the remote, and like the opponent has to also not go check the agenda. Like those are a lot of qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be an agenda. It has to be something like it can be other things that you can advance. It can be, like
you're gonna put Ladgrid back in.
I mean, Augustus, I can give you some stats. First at EMEA, second at ACC, third at AMT. Like,
and then what happened at ICC then? It got cut because it wasn't doing stuff.
Fourth at Philadelphia.
It didn't get cut because it wasn't doing stuff. It got cut because people realized how powerful it was, and so they went after it with all. Like they realized that if they don't check the board and find the hearts and minds,
people realize that when it's powerful, you just check the board, and when it's not powerful, you ignore it.
No, I think I put this, and this is gonna kick some people up the wrong way. I think this has got this weird similar power thing to something like Sensi's Actors Union, where if it fires once, like the amount of tempo which you get off potentially firing it once is
how much tempo have you gotten off firing it once? You spent a click installing it and then spent a credit resing it. You could just use that to advance it. Like,
no, because like this potentially lets you like score out a 4-2 whilst installing something the same turn.
No.
You want to use your lifeline on Jonald?
Yeah. I'll. What do you mean, B, Jonald?
Yes,
you're not playing it. I mean,
Augustus said that he wanted to use his lifeline on Jonald.
Yeah, he's the fairest chick I'm gonna get. So
like,
I'm gonna ask him to reconsider as my lifeline, and then we can go with what he
played this. I have played this card in Ob, and it's felt insane when it's gone off. I have played this card in Prav. It has felt insane when it goes off. Like this card, if it sticks on the board, which is a big if, but that's a big if for any freaking asset. Like, it can win you games. This can win you games. It's insane. Now, because it has to stick on the board, it's obviously not like S tier. It's really hard to protect because it's a political asset, etc. But like, I think I'm very much with John. I think this is a B tier card. Like, I'd be really pushing to put it in A tier personally. Like, but I think it's B tier.
I'm happy with B tier. I'm still waiting for Jonald's reconsidered results.
I'll admit that exactly in the Pratt deck, it is actually very nuts because of like how Pratt works. I don't think that for me that might be enough to convince me to not have it be D tier, but I wouldn't go to B tier.
Yeah, and I think this is it. Like, if you're playing with this card and like, yeah, the runner can just go and check everything. If you can put 3 cards on the board every single turn, like they can't necessarily just check everything. Like runners do have a limited bot,
but they're not. They don't have to. They only have to check face downs once you like have an agenda in the remote, and then by that point you've rested your Maryland and you've rested your stuff. So. Yeah. Jonald has given me a C tier. Let's go.
No,
Jonald basically said C tier.
I'm not taking that. Come on, and you're fucking.
I read his message and it says top of C tier, and that's I stopped reading it.
It has to be in there.
Or bottom of B. So we've gone with bottom of B. There we go.
I'm still waiting for the real results. You can't like take your fake elections and run with those, but I'm waiting for the real word.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, another card which Augustus hates.
Fucked, Augustus. Like winning Swedish nationals wasn't shit.
There we go. Bottom of B, final laughter. We've got it. And he's a Byroid, so you can't answer. You can't argue against him.
All good. Like the qualifier of it being the bottom of B actually makes it a lot better for me.
I think we're also probably going to fight
just remember
as well.
Remember that our tiers are not ordered.
Like, who actually likes Logjam? Come on.
Nobody likes it because the card is so frustrating to play against. Like you can't this on left
to play with.
This goes to like 26
counters.
Have you ever played like against BTL and get this to like 26 strength, and then you're like, oh, I have a nice time playing the game.
What the hell are you doing? You let BTL put 27 advancements on this.
Like, right. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Whoa. Hold up. Because this is definitely going to be like fireworks. So, Augustus, I'm going to give you exactly 1 minute to argue about why this card should be in D tier. Or Aksu, for this minute you cannot speak, and your minute starts now.
Okay, I'm just gonna try to find a screenshot of the like one strength Logjam and like cite that as my only defense, and like that's it. You like Logjam is 1 strength ice. It's bad. You shouldn't play it.
How often have you seen a 1 strength Logjam?
Enough for me to never want to put it in my deck.
Like once? I've never seen I've never seen a 1 strength Logjam.
Like you have it as your only ice in hand, and you have to like push a Rashida behind it, and you cry.
Do you? You've just rezzed an end the run for 4 credits. That doesn't feel that bad.
It's 1 strength.
Yeah,
that's like border control, but bad.
It can get bigger later if you want it to.
If you waste a bunch of money, or you could just install a tree line on top and then get that big.
Okay, that's interesting. So Augustus's entire thesis on why Logjam is bad is that it's 1 strength. Aksu, you have 1 minute to explain why Logjam should not be in D tier, starting now.
All right, so basically, it's another thing that scales basically infinitely in like the BTL deck. So when the BTL deck is good, after ice starts mattering again, this card starts cooking so much, like it scales so pretty heavily, and it wins against things that typically beat BTL quite like all right. Like you can just boomerang through a Faras, you can't boomerang through this, and like yeah, it's pretty bad on like turn 1 or 2, but it actually starts to cook at some point, and it just has the results to back it up. Not at least being D, it's like it got same results as like Sisyphus Protocol basically. It has like 4th at OTG, 4th at Australian Nationals, and it basically carries
start of BTL. I need to hunt these people down.
Okay. Interrupted. Do I automatically win?
Your minute's up. Okay. I've got to be honest, Augustus. Aksu has made the much better argument here.
But his entire argument was it says can be advanced, which like 5 different ice and
infinite
has, and you don't play all of them.
Weed smoker.
Okay, I'm gonna have 1 minute now, so you can both shut the hell up. Right. So, yes, this can be an advanced, but the fact that it does generally, not all the time, I understand that, come in with some counters, means that it's incredibly rare that this will just be a 1 strength card. Plus, if you're playing Logjam and you're not playing some other way of generating counters like wall-to-wall, etc., or you're, then you're probably playing it in the wrong deck. Like I would say, or if you
all decks are the wrong deck.
Yeah, whatever. The fact that it's an ice that can be incredibly strong in terms of its strength numbers. Yes, Hush exists, but Hush is always going to be a card which can be brought up. That deals with Boomerang. It deals with Botulus much better than almost all other ice does. I
feel like
only Bankar gets through it super easy.
To get through 27 strength ice is not a good exchange for you.
I'm just digging through like old tiebreakers lists, and like every single BTL Glacier list is playing this.
Yeah, and I told them not to.
Yeah, because.
And does anyone bring those decks anywhere? No, because they were bad.
No, because nobody wants to play that, and BTL is not the meta pick currently. But after Turbine and all this other shit goes, BTL will cook people alive. It will be like Star
And it will not play Logjam. It'll play Pharaohs, which is like way better.
You play both. You can play multiple eyes. Did you know that? You don't have to play just one. You can play multiples.
You're gonna play like 12 barriers?
Yeah, like, hell yeah.
Give me an honest over-under on how much strength Logjam has with its res effect.
Like on res effect.
Like generally 3 or 4.
Yeah, then you advance it once, and then it starts stacking.
You're like seriously getting it to 4 strength on res consistently. How?
Yeah.
With what types?
Ice upgrade operation and.
What ice have you put in the bin? Like
just some random like descent or something.
Okay, right. Hold up. Stop. Right. I am now going to leave this up to the chat. Okay? So chat, you've listened to Augustus's argument. You've listened to Aksu's argument. You listened to my argument. I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds.
With his argument for like there's so many.
Hold up. I'm gonna set a timer for 30 seconds. Everyone in chat, if you are interested, you now have 30 seconds to write either A, B, C, D, or S. Go. Start now, and we're just gonna purely go with chat.
Against me or
something. But all I'm gonna say is that.
Oh no!
If
chat's gonna put it in the S tier.
Not S tier.
What are these people smoking? Yeah, Jai is being sensible. I could see an argument for C tier, but like, there we go.
Okay, chat, you've got like 10 seconds left. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. We've got 5. Oh, that went off a bit early. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. At this point, we have 1 for B, 2 for B, 1 for C. Cactus Glab really unhelpful there. I'll give 1 to both. Another for C. Warlock. Clearly on Augustus's payroll. Jonold saying C. Rohi is on a B. We've got a C or a B. We've got a high C.
High C was after the cutoff.
Ooh, interesting. Interestingly, so all of the C's apart from 1 say high. I think it's B. I think if we actually do the averages here,
I think we should we should wait for a tiebreaker match. It's like the next one wins.
That one's like putting Logjam in B is genuinely criminal. Like, how can you look at it, Hammer, and decide?
Hammer is fucking ass.
No,
if I had my pick, Hammer is going to see it there insta.
Bad example. But like corporate hospitality, like you look at Logjam and corporate hospitality.
Corporate hospitality over Logjam. Okay, you're playing draft. Which of these cards are you picking?
Like out of Logjam or corporate hospitality? Is corporate hospitality easiest?
Like Sisyphus Protocol or Logjam? Which one?
Sisyphus in draft? Of course it's Sisyphus.
Hell no.
I think in draft you do pick Sisyphus for what it's worth.
No, you don't.
Yeah, because then you can pick Hammer on the next time round and they have to go through it twice. Okay, well...
I've also got like 15 strength Logjam.
Why would you pick Advanceable Ice in draft? Also,
in case you happen to lock into BTL? Yeah. Because you've just drafted 3 copies of Business as Usual?
Yeah, like you could also get like 15 locked.
Wait, we also didn't put Business as Usual in D tier. Oh god, this is
yeah, we put it right at the bottom of C tier. We agreed on that one. That was somewhat agreed on.
Yeah, the qualifier that just the bottom doesn't appear in the thing.
Okay, right.
Just backing me up.
The Corp cards are much less agreed upon than the runner cards. I think we can agree on that.
I mean, me and Bar are agreeing. Augustus is smoking weed in the corner. So
no, because me and you haven't agreed on everything here, by a long way. but that's okay. So I think what we can agree on is that we were pretty wrong on like quite a lot. I guess like Corp, we were actually close.
I mean, I was right. You were picking random cards like.
Hey, you weren't always right. We can go back and look. I think Corp, interestingly, so Corp, we had some of the biggest movement, but we've had the least agreement on that movement. And so I think Corp, we were like, most stuff has actually just maybe moved one or two things. And then the ones which have moved far, someone has been in disagreement. So like, if we were to like balance it out, like there were only a couple of cards which we got like actually wrong here. The runner cards, I think we were well out of. Which I can't move.
Well, I think you can probably close the stream out. I think I have to go to sleep. It's
I have to go to sleep as well. But there we go.
Yeah, thanks for the stream. It was fun.
Oh, I thought it had disappeared. Right. I'll leave this one up on the screen. I'll try and put both the pictures into the chat notes so that you can all look at them. But with that, I think it is time for bed. Augustus needs to go and start beef with everyone in chat. Any final words before I cut you both off unceremoniously?
All good. Keep running friendos and stay hydrated.
Nice. Aksu, are you still there or are you asleep? Oh, he's actually asleep.
Aksu went to sleep.
Okay, right. Which cards can we move now? No, right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you to Aksu and Augustus. That was interesting, and I think we'll probably come back in about like 2 months and change them all again. We shall see. But yeah, thanks everyone in chat tonight, and I'll see you next week, I guess. Night.